What is going on, everybody? It is episode 228 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Wow, so calm today. Hello, Crisis Actors. It is Mary. Happy to be here on this lovely Thursday. And we have another new face for you.
They're just...
Weirdly enough, they keep showing up. I don't know. Like
we didn't invite them.
Where do we find these people?
Where
do we find these people? Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kellen. I'm not really sure how I got here. There was just a door open, so I just entered. And they said, here, put these headphones on. So now I'm here.
Yeah.
We were like, you're supposed to be here, right? He's like, I'm sure. I think, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'm really excited. I think we got a lot of hot and spicy things to talk about today.
Before we do that, tell everyone what it is that you do here. What it is exactly you do here.
So I usually work over on Timcast IRL over in that studio. I work behind the scenes. If you ever check out the YouTube clips, those are done by me. So that's what I do here, and then I'll bother you guys from time to time.
He's a close associate of marketing man extraordinaire Dane Font.
Yeah, that's true.
It's one big happy
who,
family.
by the way, is going to be on the show tomorrow after a long hiatus. Thankfully, he's coming back, and we're going to do a meme review with him. The very first meme review. I have to shill that. Go to the subreddit for Pop Culture Crisis, submit all of your memes or out of context clips or whatever that's related to the show or related to topics that we talk about, whatever you'd like. Submit that before the show tomorrow, and we're going to review it on the show.
Speaking of shilling.
Yes, there's another thing I want to shill. I'm just shill-tastic today. We've got a referral link in the description that I want you to click. It helps us earn points in Jeremy's Razors competition. We want $250,000 prize, and it will help you get 35% off a Daily Wire Plus membership or $12 off of a Jeremy's Razors Founders Kit.
You could have Kellen's mustache.
Yeah. There is actually an episode of Cast Castle when we did a fake Jeremy's Razors shout out. So that would work. That would work pretty well.
That's funny.
Perfect. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a movie that just essentially got ended because the creator of it, Vox Day, it's an anti-woke is how they advertise it, but it's a comic book movie based on Arkhaven Comics' alt hero line. It was Vox Day working with Chuck Dixon and a bunch of other people. There's a bunch of articles on Bounding Into Comics. They do a lot of crowdfunding stuff, and they ran into some trouble with a scammer who took a bunch of their money. After that, we're going to talk about the ongoing saga of Olivia Wilde that I keep praying every day. It's kind of like you guys with Ezra Miller, hoping Ezra Miller won't come back up every day. I check the news to make sure there's no Olivia Wilde stories. Alas,
but there always are.
But
whether it's her telling you to avoid the burning hellfire of misogyny or giving you her new salad dressing recipe. There's always something new from Olivia Wilde.
You know what would be fun is to feed into one of those AI art generators, burning hellfire of misogyny, and see what comes out.
Burning hellfire of salad dressing.
So we're going to talk about that and all their drama. Mary loves the drama. I'm ambivalent about the drama.
I'm a
Mary,
drama queen.
She loves the drama.
Admittedly.
And after that, we're going to talk about a survey that says that 3 out of 5 Americans just want to go watch movies and streaming services just for the villains. Does that make us the baddies? I have no idea. We'll find out. We will find out. So if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are we ready?
We're ready.
Kellen, are we ready?
I'm good to go. Let's do this.
All right. So it says, anti-woke superhero movie blown up in $1 million con. This is from the Daily Beast, so allow the bias to sink in. It's the Daily Beast sucks. We understand that. There's a lot of editorializing in this article.
Yeah, the angle they're coming at it from is calling the creator of this series, the comic book series, a grifter.
Yeah.
And essentially saying that it's his fault that his project failed
when it's not.
The crowdfunding failed when he got scammed on an epic scale, it seems like.
So it says in an attempt to make a right-wing superhero movie has ended in disaster with $1 million missing in China as a participant facing federal indictment. I quote, "I wouldn't count on getting the money back. On us getting the money back." Theodore Beale, a far-right blogger known as Vox Day, admitted to his fans and investors on a video last week. This isn't Beale's followers. This isn't how Beale's followers thought their investment would go in 2019. They set out to raise $750,000 to launch this film, which is called Rebels Run, based on an Arcaven comic series called Alt Hero. I know Chuck Dixon. I know a lot of their work. He works with Zach and stuff like that. So the comics look like they've done fine. Like I said, I'm not super familiar with the source material, but I do know of all that stuff, and it seems like the comics did all right. There was a bunch of articles written about it, but something like this with that much money, they set out to raise $750,000. They raised over $1 million. Wow. And then they had to put the money somewhere.
This sounds like an Eric July level scandal, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
He went to a parallel economy banking option
called Ohana.
It was called Ohana, and it didn't work out for him. So Eric July gave his money in PayPal.
Well, people paid in PayPal, and they held on to it.
He had over $1 million of customers' money in PayPal that was crowdfunded, and it got locked and almost like permanently taken away from him.
Yep.
And then it looks like this $1 million just vanished into thin air.
So it says Ohana was the creation of James Wolfgram, a self-described cryptocurrency billionaire who posted pictures of sports cars that supposedly belonged to him on social media. But in fact, according to federal indictment filed last month, Wolfgram's wealth was a sham. The sports car pictures, for example, were pulled from websites.
Many such cases, by the way.
Yeah. Wolfgram's business also sold that they were billed as a high-tech cryptocurrency mining rigs, but those were also a hoax, according to prosecutors, with their screens just running on a loop to create the illusion of mining.
Wow.
Yeah. Unbeknownst to Beale and his supporters, and this is the part that's important here, is like I said, the way the article is framed is they're making it seem like he did something wrong, but he just trusted his money with the wrong guy.
What they believe he did wrong is make a comic book series for right-wingers or anti-woke people about a busty redhead that wears a Confederate flag bikini. Well, now, you can do that if you please. I think it's cringy. I don't know about you, Brett.
I thought the trailer was great. Let's watch the trailer. We have the trailer for it.
Well, by the way, we barely were able to attain a version of the trailer that was still up on the internet because it was taken down off of YouTube and then Vimeo and then all of the articles that had it embedded.
Yeah.
We couldn't play it.
Well,
I found it reposted.
Yeah. They maybe took it down because of legal reasons to do with the lawsuit, probably.
Yeah, and then when I tried to go to his original blog post announcing the movie, that was taken down too.
Hearing all the talk, like we're going to talk, let's watch the trailer. So we'll talk about, it's the heavy-handedness of the trailer that comes across as cringy to me. But also there's some other stuff.
It's not even really a trailer, guys. It's more of a pitch to investors to get more money after the initial $1 million was crowdfunded.
So here we go.
All across the Western world, arrests are taking place.
Neos, ultras, nationalists, our whole homes.
That's taken from The Dark Knight Rises. That is the scene of I'm almost positive that's the scene of Bane being transported to the aircraft at the beginning. Now, the point is Chuck Dixon worked on this and he created Bane. So that, of course, makes it all right. I don't know. That is very clearly from Logan.
Works.
Yeah. That's the new stuff. That's from Logan. Logan.
You will not be warned. There is no escape. The global crackdown on hate has begun.
Why is it in a French accent?
I have no idea.
Why?
So Scooter Downey's he's been on Tucker Carlson before. I saw that. I know Chuck Dixon. I don't know the rest of the team other than Vox Day being mentioned because Vox Day did stuff with Owen Benjamin, who's not in my realm of people that I watch, but you know who they are through like third party.
And Vox Day founded Viral Films Productions.
Yeah.
Real and imaginary.
I do it.
Have to create the heroes.
There's the Confederate flag bustier.
I do support the inclusion of redheads, though.
That's a good point.
And the inclusion of women who are hot and not hot.
Hot women and redheads should be staples in Hollywood.
You're
but
like
they're not.
almost there, and then you lose me with the crackdown on hate
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
The ride
sold.
never ends.
No, it was
Okay.
It's
So the rest of this is interviews with the people involved in the project, and
Yeah.
I wanted to show Chuck Dixon's part.
yeah. Do you want to play it? Should we play it? And by the way, this was released in 2019. Was when this came out.
Yeah.
This was the pitch for the movie, and now that money is now gone. Now 3 years later.
I don't know. You know, I was on Batman for 11 years. I got to co-create Bane, the Batman villain. I worked on The Punisher, my favorite character, for a long time. All right, very cool. There you go. I think the idea of turning the alt-hero universe loose on the film medium, it's unique.
You know, it's the first ever independently produced comic book movie. To my knowledge, no one's ever done this. It's historic, and I'm excited to launch this journey with a lot of talented people.
Vox Day is awesome to work with. He's unusual in that he keeps all of his promises.
So
Oh no, we need to just
He
show
stays
the
in
next.
touch.
The Leonardo DiCaprio holding up the champagne
great.
glass
So-
right after he says he follows through on all of
Yeah.
his promises.
So the trailer was from 2019, but they're just saying now that the money's gone through the Ohana Financial Services.
He used it to pay back debt to a Chinese company that made like medical protective gear in
Yeah.
2020.
Have there been updates or anything? You said this was from 2019.
The trailer was from 2019.
The money's gone now.
Yeah.
Have they been posting any sort of updates for the fans that did jump in on
There's
this
an
crowdsourcing?
ongoing legal
battle,
investigation
yeah.
from the SEC, and I found a tweet that showed a screenshot of the video's transcript for the trailer that was mostly deleted from the internet. And someone said, always good when the transcript of your groundbreaking alt-right superhero movie trailer is called Exhibit F on sec.gov.
Yeah. And look,
So
What
they
this-
just think that this is an L for right-wingers,
Yeah.
and they feel like dunking on it for that reason. I don't think it was his fault
Not at all.
personally, but he also made something that was kind of
Well, like
cringe,
you
in my
mentioned
opinion.
Eric July, and I think it's a great comparison because Eric July, I would say, I mean, I have not read Isom yet. I'm waiting for that to get to me. But I would say that's probably pretty apolitical, and they're still coming after him because he wanted to go and
Yeah.
create his own thing. Like if you follow his Twitter account, he's constantly posting screenshots of the stuff that people say to him. Like he
yep.
posted, he's like, I was able to pay my mother's car off.
Yep.
and
People found a problem with that.
His project is a lot. I mean, obviously, it's bold to try to crowdfund anything independently. Put out a comic book series like that, but making a movie is an even larger
It's a big
endeavor
ask.
than that, and it requires an even larger fundraising campaign.
well, yeah, it was like $1 million. Like, what is
$1 million can't make a superhero movie that's on par with big studios.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he hoped to achieve with only $1 million.
Yeah. And one of the comments says it sounds like they were super conservative and right. They weren't super conservative and right wing if they were willing to invest so much money in a Chinese company. It was the guy he invested his money with that invested in the Chinese company,
Yeah, Ohana.
which is not necessarily a right wing company. It's just somebody that they said helps
This
bank.
alternative
Yeah.
banking service also worked with a Chinese company that made like face masks or something.
Yes.
They got into debt with them and used the 1 million approximate fundraiser money to pay off this Chinese company.
It basically got scammed out of money. Like that.
So
it wasn't
Vox
Wolf Run.
basically got scammed.
Yep.
So that's not his personal fault. I will say though, if you make something that is this hyper political
Yeah.
from the jump, when Rippaverse in comparison is not at all like that,
Nope.
you're gonna have more of a niche audience,
Yeah.
and you can't get as much done with
Well,
that.
you know, this was a movie, and it got $1 million. Rippaverse is purely a
Yeah.
comic, and what are they up to, like 3.5 million,
3.5.
something like that?
Yeah.
You know, so people will,
Yep.
vote with their wallets on what they want to see.
So it says Wolfgrim now faces 4 counts of wire fraud over the Rebels' run money and other aspects of his business. While the film's investors may someday recoup a portion of their money through the legal system, Beale has given up on funding a superhero movie. Major setback, and getting a movie made is a Herculean effort in the best of times. Getting it done independently is very, very difficult. And to be honest, what this does, it makes me appreciate the Daily Wire even more, like what they've managed to accomplish with very little in the way of drama, and they just make what they need to make, and they get it done. And they're not doing it through crowdfunding. They're self-financed.
I hope that this blow up doesn't discourage other people from going independent and crowdfunding their projects, whether it's a movie or a comic book series
Don't
or
invest
whatever.
your money with crypto billionaires who post fake pictures.
But at some point,
Sports
like
cars.
he probably did that because he had already been kicked off of mainstream payment processors and banks.
Yep, that's what they say.
And like, so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So Eric July uses PayPal. He gets punished for that.
Yep.
And then Vox Day uses an alternative service that gives banking to the unbankable, or banking to the debanked.
It's like loan
and
sharks.
He still is punished for making that decision and trying to support a parallel economy type of business.
Because the sharks come out when they smell blood in the water, and when you can't bank,
So
through
there's
traditional
essentially
means,
nowhere to go. It seems.
Yeah, this is what it says, is that Ohana's promotional material puts it, according to prosecutors, the firm offered banking to the unbankable. On November 5th, 2020, Beale transferred $1 million to Ohana. Ohana means family, right?
Yes.
Yes. That is ironic. And
That's a Lilo and Stitch reference
yes.
for those of you
Such
out
a good
there.
movie.
For those fans out there. I know you're out there.
Wasn't there a lot? This is a little bit of a segue, but wasn't there a live action Lilo and Stitch that they announced a couple years
yes,
ago?
there was.
Oh,
I don't
that
know
must
whatever,
be in development then.
Must still be working.
Yep.
Is Lilo a Disney princess, by the way?
It's a great question. She's
Probably
my
not.
Disney princess.
She's not a princess.
I mean,
so it's like you can't win with this. If you try to go through traditional means, they censor you or they tell you. Granted, like Owen Benjamin.
We're
and
like,
those dudes,
don't get discoured, but also you can't win, and there's no way out of this.
But I also want to point out that try to think of like where you stack up in your belief in what you post to somebody like an Owen Benjamin, a Vox Day. Like I'm never gonna have trouble with that stuff. Maybe like working for Tim will someday bite me. I don't think so. But like I'm pretty apolitical in my posts, so I don't think I would have anything to worry about. But most people, you shouldn't have to worry about sharing your opinions, however bad or awful people might find them, me included. If I find your opinions awful, that doesn't mean you should not be able to raise money and use banking. That's obscene.
Yeah, Daily Beast made sure to mention the opinions that Vox Day holds that they find most abhorrent. I think they're totally irrelevant to the situation at hand.
Yeah.
And to say that someone shouldn't be able to earn a living, not just earn a living, but make a profit because of the beliefs that they hold, it's really a violation of their conscience. And it's basically saying that you want them dead without saying it.
Oh yeah,
it's almost homicidal rage that they have.
Twitter, the natural outcome of like what the people on Twitter want for you is to starve to death in a box.
Yeah.
In the rain. That's what they want. They want every.
I mean, what other conclusion is there?
That there is like, well, yeah, sure. Well, we're not saying that you like free. It's when people use that. There's nothing I hate more than free speech is free, but not free from consequences.
Oh yeah.
And supposedly getting $1 million stolen from you is the consequence.
I bet they're working real hard.
You're like, well, maybe if you'd voted for Bernie, this would be fine.
They think that the investors might get a portion of their money back after the SEC investigates.
Yeah.
But, like, what reason does the SEC have to personally care about them.
I mean, the SEC they're gonna just crawl. They're gonna shuffle their feet. I mean, if you guys saw The Big Short, they've got a nice little graphic in the end credits where they're like, oh, we totally held all those bankers accountable for the 2008 crash. None of that happened.
Yeah,
it was a joke. It was satire.
So I'm going to read the last bit about it so they kind of really understand. You mentioned it earlier, like where the money went, but it says, unbeknownst to Beale and his supporters, the indictment alleges, Wolfgram was deeply in debt to one of his business's other clients. The client had paid for more than $4 million in September 2020, several months into the COVID-19 pandemic, as part of what was meant to be payments to a Chinese manufacturer of PPE equipment. So instead of carrying out on the transaction, prosecutors allege Wolfgram spent his millions on his own unrelated expenses, including the $1 million that he got from Vox Day.
I'm looking at comments on a Bounding Into Comics article from 2019, back when they first announced.
Yep.
And one person said, this movie is going to suck. 6 thumbs up and 6 thumbs down.
I do think that there's you're supposed to, I think people just assume that you're just going to support it because it's not mainstream, and that's not how it works for me.
Vox Day has his super fans that believe in anything he does, but you can't reach a mainstream audience or people that haven't heard of you before or heard of your comic books before when they're this outwardly political messaging, when that's exactly what people are asking. They're asking for the opposite of that right now in the comic books industry. They're asking for apolitical, good storytelling that doesn't browbeat them.
Right. And you don't want, even if you are someone that agrees with either liberal or conservative policies, you don't want that thrown in your face. You want to enjoy a good piece of art. Yeah. The character can be conservative, but you don't need that painted all over the movie,
Apparently some people want that, but it's only probably his super fans that what do they call him, Dark Lord?
I admit that I had never heard of Vox Day.
They call him Supreme Dark Lord of the Evil Legion of Evil, and they describe themselves as his minions.
I watched part of his stream with Ricada Law, and that was the extent of what I knew of him. That was
also back in 2019. There was a lot of attention stirred up for this project at the time because people are excited to support independent artists and filmmakers.
Also, scroll back to 2019, it was a different time. People were probably a lot more fervent. I feel like a lot of the energy now is just people are just beaten down by a lot of this.
Why is that?
I think people are just kind of
and what stage are we at with Comicsgate?
Yeah, I mean, that's Comicsgate is not even a thing. It's there's different factions.
Yeah.
And it's its own separate thing that I followed in the beginning, but now I just have the few creators that I watch their content from. And Zach, who I watch the most of, doesn't even really consider himself there. He just gets lumped in there because anything that's not mainstream is considered Comicsgate. If you think that politics should be left out of it, or if you're kind of in support of customer giving the customer what they want, which is what it was really all about. So yeah, it was. I thought the trailer was kind of cringe. I thought that the girl did an okay job.
You had some choice words for the girl.
Yeah, but it's that's been done before. I mean, there is Scarlett Johansson in the MCU, so they've kind of. To me, that's just he's copying another thing that's been done.
Well, no, but I mean, using a redhead. Yes, Scarlett Johansson was a redhead in that, but that's the exception, not the rule. Now there's far less redheads in Hollywood, so more redheads is always a good thing.
The consumption of that character was a different time.
Only you can prevent the ginger side. Only you. Only you.
But I was thinking when we watched that clip of Vox Day just raising his champagne glass and looking
Gatsby.
Knowingly at the camera.
I
was thinking maybe he was planning this all along and he's in cahoots with Ohana.
Could be. I don't know. I didn't like maybe it was less the politics and more to me it was the using footage from other movies that really bothered me. I understand.
Well, they didn't have actual footage to show yet.
I understand it's a pitch, but maybe just use the footage you have and that's just me.
I'm really curious to these crypto mining rigs and what they looked like and how he
how they were
bamboozled people into this. Yeah.
He's like, look at how high tech we are.
There are so many grifters like that on Instagram that and it's just so easy to get away with it too. I was just looking at like the people that peddle gambling addiction to children on Twitch, and like even just the what is his name?
Which one?
He was literally just in all of the headlines and then completely disappeared. He was
for gambling?
No. Oh, I'll remember it later.
Not Kanye?
I'll remember it later. The dating like red pill kind of coach guy.
Oh,
what was his name? It's such a psyop. I feel like a victim of a psyop for forgetting his name and memory holding it right after he was all anyone was talking about on social media for weeks. What was his name?
I don't know.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I was like Myron Gaines.
See, the fact that you forgot it just shows that we're victims of a psyop.
Well, I was gonna say you banned him from the internet, and he's banned from my mind, essentially. You know,
we've just been like intellectually controlled.
Yeah. So, we'll see where it goes. Yeah, Andrew.
But Andrew Tate does that thing where he poses with like a rental car.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the hustle culture thing.
Yeah.
There's some really funny videos about like anti-hustle culture, which are all done to like really ominous music, and the general idea is like, don't work hard, it's not worth it. It's like the idea.
I mean, there
should
is
be,
something to be said for that.
The idea is like there's a good notion in the idea of don't get scammed. Don't get scammed by people that are presenting you something that's very clearly a fantasy. But then it boils down to like, don't work so hard. The world's going to end anyways in 10 years because of climate change.
In a way, hustle culture is also about finding the freedom to not work hard anymore. It's all going towards the same goal.
Yeah.
Have enough side hustles that you don't need to do anything anymore.
I worked very hard to get like inspirational finance quotes out of my Instagram feed. Like that stuff just appears there. It doesn't matter how much you don't click on it.
I mean, I like the meme ones that are fake.
No, even that. Like the cringe
the Sigma
graphics.
male.
The cringe graphics. It's always got like an arrow pointed up, like it's a fine. Like it's awful. I hate that stuff. Or like Warren Buffett quotes, and it's a quote from somebody who's not Warren Buffett, but it's got a picture of Warren Buffett behind it.
I love that.
Also, I want to point out that there's nothing I hate more than like when they just attribute a quote to a celebrity and just put like a Twitter handle and a picture of them and a check mark as if that means that they said this quote. It's like I've seen like 900 quotes that have been attributed to like Keanu Reeves that were said by like people from a completely different time period.
Like Gandhi.
Yeah, like Keanu Reeves once said. They always say so and so once said, and it's just something they never ever said in their entire life.
I can't think of the example, but I like when the actual real verified account then comes on and responds. It's like, I never said this, and it's like you can see the original post and then the actual account responding, and I'm like, that's
we love a little fake news.
The original one I'm thinking of, it's like it's not shameful to wear off-brand clothes. You've got a family to feed, not friends to impress, or something like that. And they attributed it to like somebody completely random, and I guess it was Emma Watson. But I thought that Emma Watson was fake because it didn't seem like something Emma Watson would say. Nothing's real anymore. It's all fake. All of it's
Super
fake.
chats. Dane Font said, "My son."
Yeah.
Are you his son?
Are you Dane's
I believe
son?
he's referring to me. I mean, I think it's either. I don't know. You can be a son if you want, Brett.
I'm older than both of you.
I already called you and Dane my dad.
Yeah.
Brett, so maybe
Man, that was a
Kellen
rough
is your
one.
child.
Oh God.
Well, thank you, Dane. Thanks for chiming in.
Regatan said, "Kellen, please play Elden Ring." This guy is telling everyone they need to play Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're
everyone's
not
trying to tell
special.
me to watch Lord of the Rings too, but I saw a post early on that said no hate watching, and I'm not. I refuse to.
Wait, isn't Elden Ring different?
I don't know, but
Elden Ring's a game though. Can you play a game?
it's that whole like medieval. They're gonna hate me in the comments, but it's that medieval thing. I've just never really been too keen on it.
Oh, like Elder Scrolls?
Elder Scrolls, Elden Ring. Isn't that
Some
the
people
one?
are really addicted to that
I
stuff.
will say, I think Elden Ring is that the Amazon game? Is that
Elden Ring?
Yeah, or am I thinking
know.
of something else?
Elden Ring's
The Amazon Studios.
I don't think so. Lord of the Rings is an Amazon Studios thing.
Yeah.
Potatoes for Seamus said, guess Kellen and Wesley are taking turns out of the attic.
Yeah, we take the lock off every once in a while.
We let one out at a time.
We don't let them both out at the same time. That's chaos if you do that. we can't control them if we let them out at the same time.
Tacti Platty said, how many parties for you two to wear Confederate bikinis?
At least it wasn't I think I'd feel more comfortable in the bustier than the bikini.
Oh,
Just
okay.
saying.
Just personal preference.
Just a personal preference there.
The answer is 1,000. Hulls and the Kid said, silencing the little guy isn't preventing the next genocidal tyrant like the wokies believe. It's paving the way for the next one.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, I'm not comparing the two, but I'm saying when you create the idea that you have to silence them and that just forces them to go underground and communicate elsewhere, the same thing happens when you cut off their payment processors and you cut off their ways of transferring money from one place to another. They just have to end up building out their own economies, and then we end up in weird ghettos of our own making where everyone's separate and we self-segregate because nobody's allowed to interact because we are not tolerant of other people's behaviors and ideals.
Mm-hmm. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, happy Thursday, PCC crew. Welcome, Kellen.
Thank you.
Also, I want to point out that there was a comment here from High Voltage 75 that says, 1,000, don't tempt me.
Oh, no.
I meant 1,000 parties, by the way.
No, I think they know that. They know that.
Bad App said, me and Brett went to film school. Give us your money so we can put our degrees to use.
Also, there was another comment that said, didn't Brandon just forgive your loans?
Do you want to make a film with Bad App?
I'm actually kind of terrified to think what kind of movie Bad App would want to make.
The machinations of his mind are an enigma.
What Bad App? What would your movies be? I feel like it would be like the weird like hot girl B movies from the 90s and 2000s that probably had Tara Reid in them as the lead.
Let's know.
Go.
Center Conservative Mom 98 said, okay, Brett, but InspiroBot makes some pretty funny generated inspo quotes. Made me some good ones about the Fed and reality. I recommend it highly.
I might have to check out InspiroBot. That
funny.
Sounds terrifying and not like anything that literally sounds like the opposite of what I want in life is like inspirational. Not just as bad, but getting pretty close to like an overwhelming amount of like Stoic quotes from Stoic philosophers, which I actually those resonate with me, but I still don't want to see like 10,000 of them. Yeah,
Brett Dasovic 2022.
That's basically it's whatever, it's fine. All right, we're gonna move on and Mary, tell us all about Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah,
and Olivia Wilde.
Sure. The gift that just keeps on giving. We saw an expose interview from a former nanny of Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde telling Daily Mail all about what it was like to see the couple break up in real time. And it's actually pretty sad when you think about the fact that their kids are involved.
5 and 8 years old.
Yeah, and they're old. Like, they're going to remember this stuff.
Yeah. So, contrary to what Olivia Wilde has told the press in the past, that she broke up with Jason Sudeikis in early 2020. This nanny is claiming that they actually broke up on November 8th, 2020. And that's significant because it's after when she started filming Don't Worry, Darling in Palm Springs, California, alongside her then co-star and now boyfriend, Harry Styles. So,
keyword boy.
The nanny reported to Daily Mail that she watched as Olivia Wilde was talking about marriage with Jason Sudeikis as late as October 2020.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, as soon as she begins filming with Harry Styles, she moves out of the house and starts living in a hotel room in Palm Springs.
That doesn't allow kids.
Weirdly enough, the hotel that she was staying in was called the Paramore Estate Hotel, and that is the same estate that My Chemical Romance stayed at to write Welcome to the Black Parade. There's a little tidbit for you.
And also, we're going to get into it. I feel like there's some extreme, like, pick me from the nanny here.
I don't know if I totally believe that because I read through the texts. And
how old is the nanny? I need to know.
We need to know, but she also said she's been nannying for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. She's got to be up there in age,
Yeah,
right?
That's initially when I was reading this story, I was like, oh, the poor girl. I honestly thought it was like a young, early 20s nanny, and then 20-year experience. I'm like, oh, that changed my opinion on things.
To be in charge of celebrity kids, I bet you've got to be a pretty decorated nanny.
But you should also you need to know what you're getting. You need to know what you're getting into.
Yeah,
I'm
sure they have to have impeccable references from the other families that abused them.
She was with them for 3 years before she got fired. It's hard to parse out all of the timeline, but basically she witnessed all of this. She was in communication with both of them, but after Olivia Wilde left, Jason Sudeikis texted her this. She left. She just left. She left them wide awake, sitting in Daisy's bed. That's one of their kids. After shaming me for going to Kansas and not wearing a mask. They're wide awake. I'm in shock. This is crazy. She just left them. Took her salad and dressing and left them.
What?
I'm so sorry.
I didn't see the part about shaming him for going and not wearing a mask. That is the most liberal mental disorder thing I've ever seen.
Keep in mind, there's photos on the set. I'm pretty sure there's photos on the set where Olivia Wilde is the only one not wearing a mask. For her to go and shame Jason is ridiculous.
Stories from throughout November to January of this time period where she's out partying, traveling with Harry Styles all the time.
Early midlife crisis.
It does seem like she's in some kind of
rich white liberal
midlife
California
crisis.
Woman.
But she's not even
crisis.
she's barely reached midlife. She's 38.
She's not at midlife.
She has no reason to have a midlife crisis unless it's something she's imposing on herself.
Hold on. It could just be the allure of Harry Styles. Have you I mean,
I don't look at him and see that, but
in this expose, their family therapist / marriage counselor actually compared her draw to Harry Styles to a drug addiction.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if any of these people have been addicted to heroin, but let me tell you that that you do no. And I don't think that's what this is. I think this is a product of narcissism and a woman who thinks that the world owes her something.
The claim from the nanny is that she was still in constant communication over text message and voicemail with Jason Sudeikis as she was on her romantic trysts with Harry Styles.
And then would come
back. Which is really gross.
So how old is Harry Styles?
He's like 26 or something.
Okay. I thought he was
27.
younger. I guess I know there's an age gap there.
Yes.
Which makes
At least
things even weirder.
Yeah.
Well, a male director would have never gotten away with, I mean, maybe he would have gotten away with it, but there's more attention definitely when a male director is in a relationship with a younger actress or any type of subordinate employee.
I think that would be considered normal. I mean, I think that nowadays that would be frowned upon. But
It's frowned upon.
But I think that for her, I think it's still it's still an object of interest to people. People are still finding it fascinating. People are still talking about it. We're talking about it.
They find it fascinating because there's some weird obsession in Hollywood right now with
cougars.
Yeah.
But I do believe that this was a guy. If this was a guy doing this with a younger actress and there wasn't a claim of assault or something, I think we'd drive right by it. I don't think we would spend that much time on it.
Sure. Yeah, but it's just more frowned upon, and as post Me Too,
we'd have to hear about
it's not
power
considered
structure.
okay because of power dynamics.
You raise a good point because I think Billie Eilish who's 20 years old, is dating someone
10 years older.
Jesse
older
Rutherford?
as well. With The Neighborhood, he's a guitarist, I think.
But what I'm saying is I think that if this was a guy, that we would just drive right by it if there wasn't allegations of something.
Yeah, that's besides the point. Yeah. I'm trying to highlight that it's just psychotic that she's on the phone sending text messages to her fiance at the time, I love you, we can work it out, making him think that they're still considering marriage, which, by the way, if you got engaged in 2013 and by 2020 there's still only talk of marriage, there's got to be a deeper problem there, because that's what I thought engagement was for. Never mind. I must be crazy, right?
Then I do have a question. How long should an engagement last? I remember Ben Shapiro did a really good video about
It's got to be like a year at most.
Shorter engagements.
Make your relationship pre-engagement longer if you don't know if you're ready.
I'd say a year and a half. Just like if the plans are going along, you're like, because some people want the winter weddings.
That's
some
about
people want the
planning a
summer
wedding, but like,
weddings.
don't tell me you were planning your wedding since 2013.
Sure. Yeah,
For
that's
8
and then you get
years.
2 kids, and then well,
Yeah.
because what Daisy's 6 years
you
old,
have 2
right?
kids. You live together. You own many houses together. I'm sure. You've got just about as entrenched as you possibly can with this person without getting married. Just tie the knot already. But it seems like it was a one-sided thing that Olivia Wilde didn't want to get married
because she's
specifically.
entitled and because she's a woman who's been programmed to believe that she can have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah, something like that.
She gets to have the kids, have the career, have the man, but none of the commitment, none of the responsibilities, because it is 2022 and there's nothing Hollywood women are allergic to more than the idea of responsibility.
Well, I wonder if it's jealousy too, because Sudeikis is on top of the world right now with his his show. With Ted Lasso, and I think
like, nobody.
What
wants
did you
to
think
wa-
of Don't Worry, Darling? By the way,
I-
I saw it recently.
hot
Let's
take.
call him out.
So yeah, I enjoyed Don't Worry, Darling. I compared. Have you guys seen Midsummer with Florence Pugh?
I haven't.
I thought it was very akin to that in a way, and it's just they are telling a story without revealing too much. A lot of people. Go ahead.
Oh no! When you're done, I want to hear your Florence Pugh. The conspiracy theory about Florence Pugh. I need to hear about. And everyone in the chat needs to hear this conspiracy theory.
But no, I enjoyed Don't Worry, Darling. I think the ending was a little bit drawn out, but other than that, I think Olivia Wilde was a side character. She wasn't even like.
I mean, I guess if you're directing it, that's better than.
Then it would make
star.
sense. Imagine, putting
she was
yourself
planning
in as
on
the
being
star.
the star. As
Was
well,
that so?
in Florence Pugh's place?
Really?
But she wanted a younger actress.
That probably hurt her to her core to have to do that.
I think.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed. I thought.
This
Less
again,
wrinkles
self-imposed
Yeah.
persecution on her part. So the conspiracy theory though
Yeah,
about Florence Pugh that I just heard for the first time today.
Everybody listen.
Let
I
us
heard
know.
it through the grapevine. I think that all of this drama between, because Florence Pugh has been beefing with Olivia Wilde.
Yes.
That's out in the open. I think it's because secretly, deep down, Florence Pugh is based and a huge Jordan Peterson fan. All right? And I think Olivia Wilde can't stand that. She's like, how dare someone
was
stand
like,
up for
do
themselves?
in
understand
her
that-
dressing room listening to a Jordan Peterson monologue.
You do
and
remember-
Olivia Wilde hears that and she's like,
Oh, no.
oh, she's going down.
But remember, Olivia Wilde based Chris Pine's character on Jordan Peterson.
Yep.
So she
Yep.
so maybe at the height of like the Miss Flo stuff, she hears like and make your bed and I'm not gonna honor your
You know, I
pronouns
don't-
if you force me, and then she's like, not on my watch.
I've heard that, but like I said, I saw the movie. The Jordan Peterson references.
It's only
it's
the
obvious.
cartoon character that
Exactly.
Olivia Wilde thinks
Yeah,
Jordan
she has
Peterson
never
is in her
seen
deranged brain.
An actual Jordan Peterson video because, it's I'm like, Jordan Peterson where?
Obviously.
You
And then
know?
he had to respond to it and he like broke into tears almost.
The best twist would be Jason Sudeikis pulls his life back together through the help of Jordan Peterson.
So here's the bombshell story from this interview. It's after Olivia Wilde has moved into this hotel. She comes back to their house to make a salad in their family kitchen. And she's making it with her special dressing that she always served for the family.
I don't
And-
buy for a second that she had a special dressing that she always.
Probably-
It's just such
She
a
just made it up
Hollywood-
on the spot.
Yeah, she
such-
found it on Pinterest or something.
It's such a Hollywood.
That fraud.
It's such a Hollywood slice of life piece of bullshit lie. That's not
Like
real.
Chrissy Teigen having a cookbook. And
Not
it's like, I don't
real.
believe you cooked for a day in your life.
Anything that sounds like, oh my God, isn't that such a crazy story? They're just like us. Bullshit.
You know how I said that Meghan Markle doesn't look like she's able to boil water? Same thing for Olivia Wilde.
Olivia,
Same thing for Chrissy Teigen, actually.
she's like the hardest part of acting is any scene where she has to cook something. She's like, what is it? She's like, it's like a wick.
Anyways,
that's
so
funny. So that's actually hilarious because in Don't Worry, Darling, there's a scene where Harry Styles just cannot cook.
Yeah.
Like he's burning he doesn't know how to make mashed potatoes.
Oh.
Like that's a scene in the movie. So maybe it's true.
Incompetent males who expect women to do everything for
maybe
them
Olivia
in the
Wilde
domestic battleground.
Had an incident with mashed potatoes.
She's just like, I hate it when he was like, he tried to make her mashed potatoes once and totally failed. And
Just picturing a dramatic fight where she throws mashed potatoes at the wall and it splatters everywhere. He's like, oh, my hair. Sorry.
Do that.
all down the front of his suit with the big
With his gigantic collar.
yeah.
his scarf too, his poofy scarf.
Or he tried to cook with that collar and it got in the food.
No, in the
He's
dishwasher.
like, oh, good heavens. Oh, good heavens.
the garbage
my scarf.
disposal.
So anyway, she's making this salad and this special dressing in the kitchen, and Jason Sudeikis reportedly starts filming her with his phone, and he knows that she's making it for Harry to bring over to Harry.
It just sounds so fake.
You know what this
So
sounds
he's like berating her in their kitchen, and then once she's done, well, she's like, "You're scaring me, Jason. You scare me." And he's like, If I'm scaring you, then why are you leaving me alone with our children?
Is this going to be Johnny Depp and Amber Heard 2.0?
I feel like that they're trying to make Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie the next.
So this will be it's Brangelina 2 Electric Boogaloo, and then Sudeikis Wilde. This time it's personal.
Yes.
Part 3. This time it's personal.
So then she tries to get in her car with the salad and with the dressing, and he lays down under the car so that she can't back out of their driveway. And they just go back and forth like this, in and out of the house over and over again.
And then eventually she goes back inside.
The neighbors have
Well,
to have
eventually
a ring
she
camera
actually
or
did
something.
leave.
Yep.
She actually did leave, but she was late for her
Thank
date
you.
with Harry Styles, apparently.
Well, if you look at the picture of this guy, he looks like a dude who would get left so that she could go on a date with another dude. He does.
He looks like
There's the picture of them like,
cuck.
oh, here it is, down the street. Like, why does he have an old Pentax camera around his neck?
that really
It's so
pissed
annoying.
you off for some reason.
So annoying. Like,
I
he-
mean, I don't know
looks-
anything about Jason Sudeikis, but he also seems like he is going through some kind of midlife crisis as well.
She seems evil, and he seems like a dude who wouldn't know how to handle evil.
The nanny said that he started drinking heavily once Olivia Wilde left, and when he knew that she wasn't coming back. Originally, by the way, her excuse for moving into that hotel room was a COVID outbreak on the set of Don't Worry, Darling. But that literally was the last time that he ever saw her.
The COVID outbreak being like her and Harry Styles just boinking for hours on end.
They're the patient zero of
Yeah.
that set.
Exactly. So he starts drinking heavily and having emotional outbursts at the nanny whenever she texts Olivia. And then eventually she's like, I can't do this anymore. And then one night he gets drunk and kicks her out of their house. And they put her up in a hotel and fire her permanently with no severance pay.
Yeah. $719 a night hotel.
Jeez.
Yeah, for a month. So I guess she had some time to reflect on what happened, but no severance pay. That's why she came forward. I think she just feels
she's gonna have a hard time. Like we mentioned, you got to have some good credentials and some good references if you're gonna start being a nanny to celebrities, especially world famous celebrities.
Yeah, word of mouth is everything in that world.
She's gonna have a hard time getting
Right.
a job after this, in my opinion.
But she thought she was, and she told Daily Mail she thought her career was over anyways because she didn't get letters of recommendation from either of them, and she thought that she was going to get blackballed by them.
Remember the body language test? This isn't quite that, but he's looking very longingly at her, and she's very not interested in him. I'm just saying.
Right. And how are the green lines in this?
Yes, I can't. Yeah, he's definitely leaning more
a little
forward
bit
than-
diagonal
yeah.
there, Jason.
His and then even Harry Styles is
the green
leaning-
lines are abysmal.
She is apparently a rock, and everybody else has to lean on her because I don't know what it is about her that's so likable, because she seems like a very unlikable person.
Her looks.
I mean, yeah, but still, he's a famous celebrity. You can find a girl with looks anywhere, one that doesn't treat you awful and try to use your kitchen to make mashed potatoes or salad for your.
I don't know. It's a sad situation because of the kids being involved, obviously.
Yeah.
And Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde offered a joint PR statement after this interview came out saying, as parents, it's incredibly upsetting to learn that a former nanny of our 2 young children would choose to make such false and scurrilous accusations about us publicly.
Nobody says scurrilous ever.
Except for PR reps.
Yes.
Ghostwriting your statement for you.
Talk like human beings.
Her now 18-month-long campaign of harassing us and loved ones, close friends, and colleagues has reached its unfortunate apex. We will continue to focus on raising and protecting our children with the sincere hope that she will now choose to leave our family alone.
It had everything but the word synergy in
well,
it.
you know, and the screenshots of their text conversations are in this article, and some of it's like word salad.
Yeah.
So it's hard to believe that this is how they speak to each other on a daily basis, and then they come out with such a delicate, eloquent statement. Just
it was
perfectly
obviously
crafted.
a very chaotic situation.
That's why you can never trust anything that they say. Right? Because like the reason people buy the drama and don't buy their statements is because the drama sounds chaotic and real, whereas the prepared statements seem fake and planned.
Now, Brett, you also brought up that Jason Sudeikis left his first wife for
no, I don't know if that's true.
Olivia Wilde.
According to Wikipedia, they divorced and then they started dating a month or two later. One of the comments in one of the Daily Mail articles posited that he left his first wife for Olivia Wilde. I can't.
They said they're both narcissistic cheaters, as is Styles, and if this is the sort of lifestyle they chose, this is what they get.
Then nobody loses but the children.
True.
Do they have Wilde's last name or Sudeikis? I probably already know
probably
the answer
Wilde
to that.
Well,
because
I guarantee that's
if you're legally like
they're not married.
Yeah, if you're not married, the kids are legally belonging to the mother. Or at least the names that are put on birth certificates have to be chosen by the mom present.
And that would be scary if it, like I would be like, oh no, what if he doesn't get to see his kids? But she doesn't want to spend any time with the kids anyways.
Right.
Like,
she doesn't even want to talk to them on the phone. She claimed that when she was in this hotel room, she didn't have signal to call the kids.
She literally hit him with the
and then texted her nanny saying, wow, they have a no kids policy at this hotel. It's so stupid.
I've never heard of that.
Guess
sorry.
I'll have to wait until later to see them.
It's funnier if they just didn't have that policy and she just lied.
And this is the juiciest part. Jason Sudeikis found out that she was with Harry by looking at her Apple Watch text message notifications on her Apple Watch that she left behind at their house.
So who's at fault there? Is it Olivia Wilde for being silly and leaving an Apple Watch, or should have Jason not gone snooping?
Snooping on her Apple Watch? He knew something was up.
Yeah.
He even said that somehow he knew she busted the first move on Harry Styles at some dinner party the cast was having. So he must have known like something was up.
Imagine working for 20 years as a nanny only to have annoying Olivia Wilde and beta Jason Sudeikis be the one to bring you down.
It's all a very unfortunate situation.
Well, listen, nobody suffers more than the kids.
Well, do you remember the I don't know if this, I think there was a lot of pushback, but apparently Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine too on the set and everything. It's like everything that she touched was toxic with that movie.
Yep.
You know, so it's not just the home life. She's just kind of creating chaos everywhere she goes.
She seems like walking chaos everywhere.
She's just similarly crazy to the rest of Hollywood, but worse at hiding it, I think.
It's like if you run into an asshole in the morning on the way to work, then you probably ran into an asshole. If you run into assholes all day long, you're probably the asshole. She's likely incurring like the wrath of all these people. She's like, why is everyone so mean to me? Why is everyone so awful? No, maybe you're just awful, and everybody else is just reacting to the fact that you're awful.
And you said, by the way, she released her special salad dressing recipe recently to respond to this scandal, and it's just so rich comparing that to her comments about like, wow, I can't believe people have time to pay attention to tabloid drama. You pay attention to tabloid drama about yourself.
It affects her bottom line.
Enough to give everyone
love,
your salad dressing
for
recipe.
her to come out with like her own salad dressing and start selling it.
Her own cookbook.
A salad dressing cookbook.
Like, Or you know what? Better yet, Sudeikis' salad dressing. He should do it.
Oh yeah.
He should do it.
Take back the narrative.
We find out later that it was his grandma's recipe that she stole
Yep.
and used and claimed it was her own. And there's a trial. Sudeikis on trial.
So ridiculous. I mean, but things have to be so bad for you to like that be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like salad dressing, like you see someone preparing salad dressing and you're like, oh my God, like
she's going to cheat on me.
She's cheating on me.
She made me that salad dressing when I cheated on my first wife. That's going to be clipped.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So yeah, poor actually no, poor kids.
Seriously.
Sudeikis sucks, and
They
clearly
both suck.
Yeah,
Everyone in this situation sucks.
maybe this is like for me. Like I like stories with like very very like clear delineation to like what it's supposed to mean. I just see stuff like this and I'm just like, ugh, social and societal rot, just
Yeah.
awful. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Brett Dasovic, 2022.
That's when I run for office. It's be like, well, it's like,
gonna be
are you
your
going to raise
slogan.
taxes? Maybe, maybe not.
It is what
We'll
it
see. It
is.
is what it is. We'll see. Let's go. Before we go, we should pray for one thing. That's the children. Hopefully, the children
Yes.
turn out okay.
Yes.
All right.
We've got a super chat from Yesh that says, always the groomer, never the bride. Wait, what?
Is Sudeikis a groomer?
Sudeikis is a groomer? According to whom?
never heard
Convincing
that.
Reality said if a man left his partner and 2 children in order to run off with a pop star turned actress 10 years younger, he'd be lambasted by the masses.
I mean, I feel like those stories don't even get that much play anymore because Hollywood doesn't give a crap about family anyways.
I mean,
true.
Adam Levine got a lot of heat for his scandal.
Does he have kids though?
Yes.
Yeah.
They have
They
great.
do.
His wife was pregnant at the time. I think is still pregnant at the time that this was all happening, and they have another kid who's school aged.
So remember, like when a guy when a girl does it, it's empowering, and she's just not settling for less because Yas Queen Slay, wham in power. But when a guy
just
does
definitely keep him as a live-in fiance on the back burner in case the Harry Styles thing doesn't work out.
he's just as much to blame as his awful
Do you
fiance.
take her back?
No, hell no. End it.
Self-respect.
Have a little self-respect.
Kings. Bad App said, set in the year 3045, Keanu Reeves and Nick Cage are buddy cops. Tom Cruise is trying to take over the world with his femme fatales. 80s montage.
Let's go.
I like it.
This is the movie Brett wants.
It. Like I said, I watched Collateral last week. Tom Cruise is a bad guy. Tom Cruise could try to take over the world. I'm here for it.
Bad App also said Fast and Furious 1920s with hot rods and hot flapper babes.
What about 1950s with like malt shops and Americana?
Yes. Oh, they go to like the drive-in.
It's basically Fast and
And,
Furious
like-
Grease edition.
Yeah,
Nice.
greasers
Yeah.
doing drag
When-
races along the street.
You know, that kind of reminds me of the plot of Bonnie and Clyde. They had it's not brand new, maybe it's a few years old at this point, but they rebooted that like they do with everything nowadays. But that's what it was. A lot of high speed chases with those old like rat rods and everything like that.
Maybe we get like a guy's like as like repayment for like all of the gender swaps. We get a guy's version of Thelma and Louise, like Thomas and Lewis.
Or Charlie's Angels.
Drive the car, yeah. Charlie Angels, and it'll just be it's just 3 dudes.
They Call Me Infidel said at that point they're the nanny's kids
Yep.
more than theirs. Yeah. And the nanny was even saying that she wanted a chance to say goodbye to the kids and they didn't let her.
That is sad. I didn't even
And the
think
kids
about
are just
that.
going to think they got abandoned.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, maybe not, because every kid's got a tablet nowadays. They probably
I hope
see
they're
this
not
going on.
iPad babies. Usually, actually, Hollywood parents are kind of litigious about that. Like, they don't like
Kim Kardashian doesn't want her kids finding out her sex tape.
microplastics.
Yeah.
They don't like technology around their kids. They have to play with like wooden toys and wear beige all the time.
It's
And
like the CEO of Pepsi saying he'd never let his kids drink Pepsi, or the CEO of McDonald's saying he'd never let his kids eat McDonald's. All the tech billionaires are like, my kids don't have a phone. Are you nuts?
Right.
Like they're smart. They're smarter than that.
Bad App said paranormal movie Patrick Swayze as an incubus.
Well, the band Incubus plays in the background? Question mark.
That would just bring it full circle.
He also said Operation Dumbo drop reboot.
They did that a couple years ago. It failed.
Dumbo?
Dumbo.
I think
I
have seen
remember that. Why did they make him so realistic?
Actually, that wasn't terrible. That one wasn't terrible because they didn't try to change too much.
It's not
in
the
my
same thing as
opinion.
Operation Dumbo
They
Drop.
can't race swap Dumbo.
No. But that's not the same thing as Operation Dumbo Drop.
Oh,
That's
okay.
It's different. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bobcat said Fast and Furious 1950s is already a musical called Grease.
I know. We said that. That's what I said. We could have Olivia Newton-John doing a bunch of gear shifting.
I think 1920s would be better.
I
like Bad App's idea.
They would have to bring Olivia Newton-John back with that AI technology, though. She passed away this year or last year. So
you'd have to do like a 1929 because people are back from World War I. The Depression's hitting. So what better things to do than mod cars and race them?
It'll resonate with our pre-recession anxieties.
It's the world we live in, guys. All right. So we found a survey here that says 3 in 5 Americans watch a series or a movie just for the villain. Well, I mean, obviously, these aren't the people watching Marvel movies because nobody likes Marvel villains 98.9% of the time.
I think that Thanos is actually a pretty good villain.
No, but I'm saying he's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Thanos, Killmonger. There's like a couple of them. You could argue if you wanted to include the Netflix series, you could talk about Kingpin or the Purple Man in Jessica Jones, Kilgrave. Those are good examples of good villains, but
these days, with the writing of villains, it feels like they're intentionally written for us to sympathize and relate with them.
I'm over it. They were even saying they did that in the Dahmer series.
They tried to
be made more relatable.
Pull that even with a real person who hurt real people and whose families are still alive and watching this. But like they even tried to pull this with Rings of Power, doing that like gotcha moment with Halbrand being Sauron.
Discount Spirit Halloween Sauron.
When Halbrand actually wasn't even that likable of a character. I didn't find him awfully relatable or sympathetic to begin with.
Let's go through some of these numbers. So it says more than half, 51% of TV or movie watching Americans always or often root for the villain. This is where, again, I ask the question, are we the baddies? Are we the bad guys here? We're rooting for the wrong people. In a survey of 2011 people, 3 in 5, that's 60%, said they watch a series or a movie just for the villain. 3/4 of those who watch movies or shows also noted a villain can make or break either. I'm actually kind of not in that camp. Like, if that depends on where the focus goes. Yeah, if the movie focuses a lot on the villain, then they can make or break the movie. But if the focus isn't heavily on the villain and it's very heavily focused on the good guy, then I don't need the villain to be as memorable. But it's a question of where the director puts the attention.
To challenge a formidable good guy, you need a formidable bad guy, right?
Not always. I don't think that's always true.
Because that's what I felt with
Most of the
Samaritan.
time, yes.
Samaritan is another one that comes to mind because that villain needed serious work.
Yes,
and
he was bad.
And then the hero is an anti-hero because we found out that he was Nemesis. And he's like, I'm the bad guy. Even though there is a clear-cut good guy, bad guy story there, we still are given the bait and switch where we're supposed to sympathize with the villain in the end. And I find it strange and a weird, like, toppling over of a previous ethical system.
Yeah.
That's always been my problem with Batman and Spider-Man. It's like they are going after just truly reprehensible characters, but then they just tie them up and leave them for the cops. And I'm like, come on. Like,
that's the charm of it.
You gotta, this guy did some terrible, like how many times did the Joker get captured and then released just to do more carnage, And it's like, Batman, you should have taken the Joker out a while ago.
Because then the idea is that you're responsible for your own actions. You can only do so much. It doesn't make him judge, jury, and executioner.
Isn't there one Marvel series, maybe Hawkeye, where he has like a no-kill policy?
I would say
can't stand that.
Generally,
if it was that, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I think he had like a no-kill policy for his adversaries, and I think that's stupid.
I also want to point out that anybody who thinks that Tumblr didn't kill a bunch of cops or people on the road whenever Batman rode the Tumblr, you're nuts. That thing, people died during those road chases. Don't let anyone tell you differently. Not just Ben Affleck.
Again, think of the cleanup crews.
Christian Bale as Batman killed plenty of people with that car. If you think nobody died in those building collapses.
Oh, I also thought about Batman when they asked what you like most about a villain, and
this is what I wanted to talk about next.
They said magical abilities the most, high IQ second, which Batman does have, powerful tech, Batman has that, many supporters. What would you say?
I would say that...
Is that one of the big draws? And then lots of money. Obviously, he has that.
High IQ and great tech is something that always works. Or just are genuinely... People love stories about people that are really, really good at something. Like when the show Arrow started, it worked because Oliver Queen was obscenely good at everything that he was doing, but he still had flaws as well, right? But people love the idea of somebody who's really, really gifted at something. I thought the stuff about Gen X was the most interesting, and that says that Gen Z attributes this preference to villains' complexity, while millennials could relate more to their backstory, and Gen X was just drawn to more interesting powers. There's something more wholesome about Gen X. Like, I just like it when they got cool stuff that happens. I like it.
I want to mention, by the way, that this poll was conducted by Butterfinger, the candy, which was previously owned by Nestle. They're making their own supervillain called Robin Fingers,
which is a creepy name.
And
I don't like that.
I always thought that the promo for Butterfinger has been weird because they had this one character that was like a baby, like infant version of the Nut. Like, who is the Nut guy? What is his name?
Isn't that Planters? No, Mr. Peanut?
Wait, it was Mr. Peanut's
and they've got the baby Nut.
Infant baby, and he was like on a Periscope live stream I saw.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the comments and they were like, it was... I don't even know why they were VTubing a baby Nut, but like someone commented, "Cry, baby Nut." Sorry, I just felt like I had to get that off my chest.
I think they introduced that. I don't know if it was last year's Super Bowl or the Super Bowl before that, but it was a Super Bowl commercial, and they killed off or they either killed off Mr. Peanut and then Baby Nut was born. I was like, what are they doing here?
Super Bowl commercials suck these days.
And after like a few weeks, a couple months, it was just Mr. Peanut again. So I'm like, were you guys trying to...
What was all the point of that?
Exactly.
And now what's the point of Robin Fingers? Why is this guy relevant to us?
To be fair, he does look like he might be on like the discount Kirkland brand Anonymous.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, if it was discount Kirkland brand, it would be red and black, right?
Sure.
The red line in their logo. Results found, like what you said, magical abilities. 39% can do the trick for villains. High IQ, 35. Powerful tech, 34. And then we get down to the part about cool powers, 41%. Sinister voice is important. Like I said, let Tony Todd voice all your bad guys. Go back and listen to any clip of him playing Zoom in season 2 of The Flash. The other good one is they mention cool hair in one of them. Like in the show Arrow, like I mentioned before, the guy who plays Ra's al Ghul, they keep calling him Ra's al Ghul in that version of the show too, was played by Matt Nable, and he has this really like messy, like he just got out of bed hair in the first few episodes, and it's the most lame looking thing ever. And it's like finally like the costume designer or like hairstylist woke up at like episode 17. They started slicking his hair back and made him look infinitely cooler.
I don't know. Maybe going bald is a better origin story.
to go against that, what's his name on The Boys? The one that does not have superpowers. Yeah. His hair is always kind of disheveled.
It's but it fits the character.
Depends on
right?
the character. I think I might be falling into this villain craze because if it's a hero that I sympathize with, they have to have selfish motivations for me to like them and not be like a Superman type of
I don't need them to be
character.
Redeemable. I'm sick of redeemable villains. Just make them inherently
evil.
No.
I mean, heroes. I want I like when heroes have selfish motivations. Yeah, and like maybe they'll change over the course of the movie.
Yeah.
But like, I like when they start with something that's self-serving, at least.
Yeah, well, and there's for the heroes, there's room for complexity there, right? Like,
Why isn't there room for complexity in a villain to you?
I don't care. I'm sick of redeeming villains. Let's just make them evil.
Well, I think,
do you think it's intentionally trying to like
Yes.
topple our moral values?
So I gotta
kind of, but I also believe that part of it's that they just maybe that could have been done right 10 to 20 years ago. I don't think that the current crop of Hollywood writers has the capability of doing that type of stuff right anymore.
So I have to push back a little bit, because when they actually made that independent standalone Joker movie and they showed the complexity of a villain, people fell in love with that movie. That's one of the most successful
but that's
superhero movies.
That's the exception, not the rule.
Would they?
Sure, but how many
And that's-
super villain movies got their, or how many villains got their own movie devoted to them?
But it's also it's his movie. A villain inherently won't be the focus of the movie if they're the villain of the story. The antagonist is usually somebody second to the hero in the movie. You don't have the time to flesh that character out the way you would the hero, because more time is inherently spent with the hero in that movie.
Right.
With Joker,
And you were saying a TV show is more suited to a villain.
Yes.
Because they have more time
to
That's
flesh
fair,
out that character.
to build it out. Yeah.
I don't believe in the movie. You've only got so much real estate to work with that you don't have the time to flesh out that character in a way that also allows the hero to be fleshed out. Now, it worked with Thanos because you had already fleshed out the other characters in previous movies. And that movie really, Avengers Infinity War was basically his movie.
Right. But Thanos was also getting teased for how many years before Avengers, that those movies came out?
What I wanted them to do, this is off topic, but what I wanted them to do with Batman, when Dane's favorite Batman, Ben Affleck, got to play Batman, how much he loves that. Dane, he's probably in the chat right now talking about how much he's probably talking about how much he loves it right now. What I wanted them to do is to turn Batman into Thanos for the DC universe and only use Batman for post-credit scenes until they did a Batman movie like 5 to 7 movies down the line. So what you do is after Man of Steel, you just show Batman learning about Superman's existence and show him in every movie post-credit scene in the Batcave building out technology to take on Superman, and then you make Batman vs Superman like movie 7 in there.
Right.
In that one, he can be your anti-hero or he kind of is portrayed that way anyway, right? Superman's a Boy Scout. Batman is more of an anti-hero because he may not kill people, but he's definitely a vigilante. I don't think that they have the talent to do that with most things right now. Also, someone in the chat saying a Mr. Freeze villain series. I was actually really surprised that they didn't go with a Mr. Freeze villain series rather than the Penguin one that they're going to be doing from Matt Reeves. But
the Penguin would be cool though, because Mr. Freeze would also be very cool, but the Penguin's got that mob kind of vibe going for him.
They had the did you watch Gotham?
Parts of it.
Gotham, yeah, it's quite good. So you villains more than heroes? I feel like you identify more with the villains than the heroes in most of the movies.
Villains than anti-heroes.
Than heroes. I'm also kind of over the anti-hero thing too, because that's just like the Punisher series was fine. Most of the anti-heroes today are kind of supposedly that's mostly what we're going to be getting from Black Adam, right? Because Black Adam was a villain that's made into an anti-hero. Oh, by the way, guys, I saw a very good review from Jeremy Johns, or not very good's a little bit generous. Jeremy Johns gave it a good review, so we're hoping that we see a.
I feel like people just want to contradict whatever Rotten Tomatoes critics are saying at this point, right?
No, Jeremy Johns is a unique case of he is uniquely himself. He's not.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll see what it says.
Do you know if you need to see any other DC movies for Black Adam to make sense?
I don't believe that that's.
I mean,
a thing
he's
at all
kind of an
anyways.
outlier peripheral character in DC anyway.
He was supposed to be in the first Shazam movie because he's a Shazam character initially. That's why their suits have the similar look. But then The Rock vetoed it because The Rock's got power because he's The Rock.
He wants his own movie.
I love
his own
Chuck
movie.
though. Shazam was good.
You like what?
Do you remember who's the guy that played Shazam?
Zachary Levi. You like the show Chuck?
Chuck.
You and me.
That was a
talk
great
about
show.
Chuck sometime. Everyone should go watch Chuck. If you've never seen it, that's one up there with The Wire on the shows that I tell everyone to go watch all the time.
What's it about?
It's about a guy who gets all of the government secrets downloaded into his brain. And then
wow.
John Casey and Sarah Walker are hired by the NSA and the CIA to protect him. Why they would put all their secrets into one person's brain, you never really find out. It doesn't really matter.
Was it? I don't think it was. I don't know if it was designed to like be downloaded into someone's brain. I think he saw like some kind of like propaganda video.
No, it was.
This is going to be like Owen Benjamin playing the head of NASA.
It was called the Intersect, and it was designed to be put into someone's brain. And that's another example of it's a show everyone should be watching it. That one's on HBO Max. There is this incredible scene where they stage a revolution at the Buy More, and John Casey, who salutes a picture of Ronald Reagan every day before he goes to work, comes in and they're like, we're staging a revolution to take down the man. And he gets really excited, even though he's literally just talking to a bunch of dorks at an electronics shop and says, I want in.
It's like Geek Squad.
Yeah. That's what it's the nerd herd.
The nerd herd.
They're like, how do we know we can trust you, man? He's like, you have to go watch
it. It's like Mr. Robot.
Yes.
That's a great one, too. Would you consider Mr. Robot a villain or an anti-hero?
Anti-hero.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So... I guess to me, I'm just kind of over the gray area characters and stuff like that. I long for more traditional storytelling.
No more nuance, says Brett.
Well, with these types of movies, I just the current crop of writers don't know how to pull it off. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's go to super chats
do it.
then. Bad App said, "Oh no, I can't say that." Sorry. Yash asked, Kellen, did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he put on a dress and played Girl Bunny?
Oh, no.
What you're supposed to do then, you go, no. It's a line from Wayne's World.
Oh.
From the movie Wayne's World.
Well, it's not the same character, though, is it?
It's
but I don't know what female Bugs Bunny. She's in Space Jam, though.
Lola Bunny.
Yeah, it's a whole other character.
What he's saying there is a line from the movie Wayne's World that Garth asks Wayne, or Wayne asks Garth. No. And then he laughs really deeply. It's really funny while they're, yeah.
Bad App said Keanu Reeves, Nick Cage, Batman and Robin movie.
Oh my God!
Goodness.
Yes. Wait, in that case, who gets to be who?
I thought it was Keanu Reeves as Batman.
Yeah,
for sure.
and let's face it, Nicolas Cage was almost Superman once
that can't work.
They almost did a Kevin Smith Superman movie with Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Well, he was basically Batman in I don't know if I can say the name of that movie, but that Kick-Ass. Okay, Kick-Ass. Okay, so we can say it. Yeah, he was basically Batman in that movie, and I thought he played a great generic Batman in there.
I was also wrong about something. I saw something recently that says Chloe Grace Moretz is open to a third Kick-Ass movie if they were to propose it.
Really?
So let's go. I mean, they'll never be able to make that the way they made it back then. But
I hope it's not like a prequel or some like side story. Like, do it the right way or don't do it at all.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they brought back, what was it, Zombieland after however many?
It didn't hold up for me.
No.
The first one undefeated though.
They Call Me Infidel said Bart Simpson will always be a part of Butterfinger. I don't know what you mean by that. My Ninja said, Brett, you're a gentle spirit and deserve what you have and to be where you are. You're authentic and wear your soul on your sleeve. I'm proud of you. You are valuable and appreciated, and I'm glad you're here. And Mary, put your cart back.
I swear I didn't, my family didn't. My family doesn't watch this and post stuff. Thank you so much. That was the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
Are you guys gonna kiss right now?
Yes, we are.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And then Hobbit says Chuck was great.
Yeah.
Casey MVP. Yeah. When they ask him how do we know we can trust you, man? He's like, because the only thing I hate more than hippie and neoliberal fascists and anarchists are the hypocrite fat cat suits they eventually grow up to become. That's based for 2007 when that came out.
When you were allowed to say that.
When you were allowed to, he salutes he literally has a picture of Ronald Reagan next to a bonsai tree and he spritz the bonsai tree.
Okay, but you don't really mean it's based.
It's just for Hollywood at that time. It's just not something you would hear something
making fun
say.
of him.
Of the character. The character's
Is it not?
never. No, it's not. The character is portrayed as just a really, really awesome dude who just loves America. No.
That's what I would have assumed today.
He's a caricature. Yeah. He's a bit of a caricature, but the whole show is a bit of a caricature. Like when you hear people do karate, you hear "Hiya," and like weird sound effects that make it sound like it's the whole show is kind of a parody because it's like a weird dramedy from 2007. But that speech is like, it's awesome. You have to go watch that show. Everyone go watch Chuck. All right, we're going to move on, and we're going to BTS. Guys, BTS is going to war.
Oh, man.
Yes, kings.
BTS, so it says South Korea's move to force BTS to join the military will cause it to lose out on billions in lost tourism, merchandise, and cosmetics.
That's not even an exaggeration.
Thank you.
It's like almost definitely they're going to lose billions of dollars because they contribute $3.6 billion to their economy each year. That's as of 2018. It's probably actually higher now.
I wouldn't have known who BTS was in 2018. I would know who they are.
I
know
would
who
have.
they are now.
Right.
I would have known who they are, but I wouldn't have known like any of their songs or anything about them. And now I do because it's just inescapable. I don't really dislike K-pop, but the fans scare me a little bit.
Yeah, they should. They're like it's the meme. It's like it's like me getting kidnapped and it's a guy. It's like he's kidnapped in a car and he pulls his phone out and says, "I hate BTS." So he's like, because he knows that they will track you down and find you.
They're key logging.
Yeah. It says in 2017, 1 out of every 13 tourists who came to South Korea was because of BTS. And in 2018, 7% of foreign visitors, or about 800,000 tourists, came because of the group. According to research according to the Research Institute. I don't know which institute that is. Oh, Hyundai Research Institute. All right. It's estimated that 1.1 billion in consumer goods were exported from Korea were related to BTS, like clothing, cosmetics. Wow. Like, is there an American analog?
No. I would say the
Boy bands in the 90s?
And
Spice
No,
Girls
they didn't make us this much money.
No. One Direction got big, but they weren't even American.
Yeah.
You know, they were English. So
Spice Girls
There's
in
nothing.
the 90s for Britain?
No, because
Michael
BTS
Jackson.
is like a little bit state-sponsored
Nationalist,
vibes.
yeah.
And that's why it's a good PR move for them and also their military for them to get conscripted. It's supposed to be mandatory for all like healthy fighting age men in that country to do military service. And there were conversations for a while about whether they would get exempted because there are other artists, mainly in like more like, you know, instrumentalists, like in orchestras and things like that, who have gotten exempted from military service so that they can serve their country in that way. But I think they figured out it would be good for both parties if they ended up doing this.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be on hiatus until 2025. But like, imagine how many people are like going to see this and then enlist. It's gonna make the first Top Gun movie look like a joke in terms of enlistment numbers.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, technically they don't have to enlist. You mean like enlist for longer than just their conscripted service?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, I mean, think of like what it does for like national morale.
Yeah.
To just be like, look at these guys. Like, it's just gonna be pictures of them. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be so propagandistic, but not in like the who can blame them kind of way.
So, but I'm sorry, I just can't picture like a South Korean military man like patrolling battlefields with earbuds in his ears listening to BTS. I just don't like. Yes, they're gonna get people to, you know, enlist in the military, but
just teenage girls.
that's what I'm wondering. Like, you know, how
I think maybe in their country it's less of a teenage girl thing though. I don't know
Maybe.
that, but I would guess that they have a broader
Thank
appeal.
you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think they might have a broader appeal in their own country.
to more than just girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then like in the US it's more of a boy band phenomena. I think good for their what is his name? I don't know the name of their president, but like good for him for not exempting them because I almost thought that wow.
I still don't think that they're going to be put in any danger.
Well,
Why would you put them in danger?
I don't know anything about like the geopolitical
Let's just like
stance of South Korea, given that they are right next to North Korea.
let's think about what their value is to society. Is there value in their marksmanship, their ability to shoot rifles, their understanding of tactical battle plans, or is there value in building a cohesive national morale and getting people to support their government?
Right, and
so they can do their military
Yeah.
service. They just do it in a way that's not on the front lines.
And you can't undermine, like, if all males have to serve, you don't want to undermine that,
Yeah.
right? As a government. So, I doubt they'll ever see the front lines.
I'm picturing
but-
who was big in 2001? Britney Spears, like signing up to go to war in Iraq.
Oh.
we had the
Yeah.
Who was the guys in the chat? Who was the pro football player who gave up his career to go serve, and then he actually ended up passing away?
There's been a few people.
There's been a couple of them.
Yeah.
But that was that was a big thing. I can't think of any celebrities here who would ever do that.
Yeah, but it's not really chic in the West to be pro-military anymore.
Adam Driver was a Marine.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Adam. Like, eventually I'll go through like the list sometimes of all the people who've served in the military, like that are in Hollywood, and of course 90% of them are older. Well, like way older. Like
The Adam Driver thing is just kind of
an outlier.
an outlier there.
Yep.
I just found this interesting.
Pat Tillman, by the way, was the name. Thank you,
Yeah.
chat. Pat Tillman. Thank you.
They have the whole
Voltage.
foundation now.
Yeah.
Because of him.
I wonder if they're like what those solo endeavors are going to be, because you're going to have a whole other job that supposedly you're supposed to do, right?
Well, I think like any band, you've got a few
don't
of the
know.
members that are a little bit more popular amongst the people. So I think
So they send the less popular ones to the front lines.
Right.
I wouldn't know the difference between like who in the group is more popular than others.
Well, I know like one of them's a rapper, I think.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, whatever their version of rap is, like when it comes to K-pop. But he's had a bunch of collaborations with American artists. So
Was he the one who went and met Biden, or was that all of them?
I think they all
went
did.
with-
Do you think Biden? Do you think he listens to BTS?
I think he tried to sniff.
I think he
the hair
learned
of
what BTS was the day that they came into the White House, and then immediately forgot what they were as they left.
I think he sniffed their hair.
Oh, I hope not.
I think he sniffed their hair.
Who here was personally victimized by Joe Biden? Raise your hand.
You've got Biden Bear back there. You may call him Mr. Fluffykins, but I call him Biden Bear.
Right, that's going to be the pop culture crisis horror movie.
That would be a terrifying horror villain right there.
Like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, dude.
Let's move on to Lana Del Rey.
All right, let's do it.
She recently got carjacked by a superfan.
Oh.
No, that's fake news. But she did get car picked.
Is that the term for that?
I don't really know. What's the term if someone breaks into your car,
Robbery.
but they don't take your car? So it's interesting because she left her car and left a book bag in there, and this person came and broke in and took just the book bag, and it had
Thank you.
hard drives, her computer, and a camcorder, and a book in it. That's what she listed on Instagram. When she stepped away, they took that all like from her windows. And I couldn't help but think that it must have been a fan that did this.
They're like they
Because
really
they
wanted
weren't
mementos.
interested in finding money in the car. They must have recognized who she was and wanted keepsakes from her car.
She keeps like little nuggets of gold in the
What-
cigarette.
This is also interesting because I think many years ago, before she was even all that famous, she had a laptop stolen from her where like she had tons of unreleased music on it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
There you go.
so much. Thank you.
She had tons of unreleased music on this laptop that got stolen, and now all of it is on SoundCloud. So it might happen again.
Oh, so that was like it was unreleased songs and somebody released them.
Yeah.
So did she
So-
scrap? Were these songs from this like project, or did she scrap at those and like now this is all new stuff that got stolen now?
I don't know if there was any music on it. She said it was family footage that was on her camcorder, and I don't know what was on her hard drives. But, you know, if she's got music on her computer, they might find it and release it somehow. That's how her first like wave of music got leaked that she made like a long time ago, and it's still out there.
You know,
But I think it was a fan that did this because they didn't look for money. They didn't try to carjack her.
Right.
They must have recognized who she was.
But where is this, in L.A.?
Yeah, which isn't a safe place to live, by the way.
Right, and I think she
For
probably
those of you
lives
who
in
are
a
unaware.
nice area. I mean, she
It was
probably,
on Melrose.
I'm not familiar with the streets of L.A.
It's a big shopping district.
Okay, so I mean, you hear about all the car, people are breaking into cars left and right. They can do it in under a minute now, and they just see a backpack chilling in the back seat.
It was like Ice-T said, you can't wear jewelry in LA anymore. It's too dangerous.
He served in the military.
Ice-T did?
Yeah.
That's so funny. What did he serve as?
See right here. Bob Ross as well. Apparently.
No way. That's
Yep.
awesome.
In what?
Ice-T joined the U.S. Army and served 4 years in the 25th Infantry. He and some friends were charged with stealing a rug, and he deserted while awaiting hearing after the rug was recovered. He returned and received a non-judicial punishment. It was in the Army that Ice-T managed to make a little extra money and afford some musical equipment, beginning his rap career.
It must have been a nice rug.
If it was from Iraq, yeah, that would have been, you can't loot. Very
Oof.
bad.
The worst part of this story is that her book was when she was in the middle of writing and she was 200 pages in, and she just had to remotely wipe it from her computer and she didn't back it up.
Oh, that's awful.
Yikes. I wanted that book.
Like, it's better. The better conspiracy theory is that she just didn't write it and she's just being lazy.
The deadline.
And this was how she's explaining how they can't like make her give her advance back because she's like, look, I was almost done. But then somebody broke into my car. They're like, didn't somebody do that last year? She's like, it happened again, okay?
And the paper shortage that Britney Spears is facing.
It's a very
with her
elaborate, my dog ate my homework.
Yes, that's amazing. I love it.
I like the idea that Britney Spears did the same thing. She staged an entire paper shortage.
She bought all the paper.
Could catch up on writing her memoir.
She bought all the paper.
Which is ghostwritten anyway.
Yes. So are you a big Lana Del Rey fan?
Not like a super fan, but I like her music.
Okay.
Yeah, are you?
I venture no opinion of Lana Del Rey.
I don't know. I think she's cool because she's critical of feminism. And
Is she?
I mean, to the extent that you would ever expect. Like, she has some messages in her music that feminists don't like because it's a little bit too brutally honest, I think.
Well, they don't like much honesty, that is for sure.
I read her question for the culture on the show one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. She said she's not a feminist.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a feminist,
narrowly avoiding cancellation there.
I'm not a feminist, but I'm not a feminist.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Like, is cancel culture just kind of dead now?
If you let it, I mean, it really
you can
depends
call
on
it a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, people like eventually we're at a point now where it's just like somebody said something awful about you on the internet. Like, is it really affecting your life if you're a celebrity?
If you're a celebrity, you can't get canceled, basically.
Well,
it's
if
impossible.
you're Kanye West, the bank can cancel you. I mean, that's what happened. I mean,
he's an exception right now, I think.
But it just shows that status does not protect you, because... I mean, but maybe you're right. Maybe he is the exception.
Because more ordinary people are going to get censored and debanked and harassed and fired from their jobs than any celebrity ever will be.
I just wonder if, like, eventually, like... Because the way they do it, right, is they say awful stuff about you, and then the first things that come up when they search your name on Google is just crazy shit, right? Like,
but that's only for...
regular people.
Yeah, regular
who don't
people.
have a news cycle that can be
And
recycle
celebrities, like Candace Owens said, like a Kardashian, they have a media machine that micromanages what comes up when you search for their names.
Speaking of the Kardashians.
Yes, speaking of which, apparently Kim Kardashian wants to make jewelry out of her mother's bones.
Why?
You ever remember like whenever I watch these things and there's like eventually there's like the kind of religious person who comes in the comments and says something nutty about how they're all demonic and evil, and then
that's
I'm like,
not nutty. That's just true.
And then I'm being generalizing here, but I'm saying, and then I hear stuff like this, and I'm like, it's kind of right though,
I mean, yeah.
Just think about this. Why is this the information that Kim Kardashian wants you to know about her?
I know, right?
Because you know that it's intentional.
Having sex at the by the fire while thinking about your grandma.
Oh my god.
Right. Like, why is that? Think about why is that the information that Kim Kardashian chooses to amplify in the headlines about her, because she has such extensive control of how the media covers news about her. Why is this it? Does she want to seem scary and different?
Yeah.
And maybe I don't like. What
it.
is the goal here? This is like spirit cooking level conspiracy
so
out in the open.
Rumor is Tom Brady's, I believe they're still married, his wife Giselle is basically a witch and has little totems for every time he plays a game and stuff.
And that's why he's losing now?
Yeah,
because they're you know,
they
like this.
think his career is about to take a dive.
Right, I think
because
she's
of that.
stopped her
She's
spells.
gonna start, you know, casting some curses.
There's a really
on him.
great Instagram account called Florida Man. And it's just a dude who just makes memes about Florida and like the amount of crap they're giving Tom Brady about like sucking now that his wife is leaving him. It's like they won a game. He's
And
like,
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah, yep.
Sadly enough.
But maybe Kardashian similar to Giselle. Maybe they're just witches, like just doing little spells and
Hanging out at Bohemian Grove.
Yikes. So Kris Jenner had a hip replacement surgery recently. And it showed on their Hulu show that after the surgery, Kim asked the surgeon for her mom's bones so that she could turn those bones into jewelry.
Well, they
gross.
like, is there stuff that they like you keep your cast after surgery? Some people keep their cast after surgery.
I don't know if they do. That thing kind of stinks.
Lydia said that she wanted hers when her cast came off and they
Really?
wouldn't let her, or like they ran away from it. Ran away and threw it
Because
away.
it's a health hazard.
Yeah,
you know.
It has to go into like the sharps bin or whatever.
I remember I got my wisdom teeth out a couple years ago, and they wouldn't show me the teeth.
They're supposed to let you keep those, though.
Not anymore. It's a
Man.
health hazard. They put in yeah.
That's lame.
We live in such a stupid, litigious society.
I just think this is ghoulish, and they never tire of showing us how ghoulish they are, and they're not ashamed of it. And then there's this other headline about Khloe Kardashian wanting to get a mother-daughter boob job with her mom.
Look, I'm one of those people. Like sometimes when we're doing this show, I think of myself as like I'm not stodgy. I'm not stodgy, but I read stuff like this and I'm just like, even if you wanted to go do that, why is there a story about it? Like, why are you talking?
Because
about
everything they do is a story, so they have to micromanage it, and I just can't imagine what their motivation is for showing us this. Like, why is this what they feature in their highly curated public lifestyle?
Or think about going back to before we go into this, but remember about Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox and blood sacrifice and stuff for their wedding or for their wedding plans. They're like, it's just a little blood. It's not a lot of blood. It's not like we're bathing in it.
That was different, I think, because they were just trying to be edgelords, and they're
so cringy.
They're in midlife crises of their own, because they're acting like high school, like they're in a high school relationship.
Jason Sudeikis is like, why can't I be going through a midlife crisis with my wife like MGK and Megan Fox?
Right.
He's just jealous.
I will say that's a little bit different though, because you can that's kind of DIY, right? Okay. Kardashian, she needs the help from a doctor and probably a jeweler to fulfill these wishes, right?
It's cooler if she's actually just really good at gemology and she works as a jeweler part-time for fun.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be cool, you know. But I can't imagine
even if
bone
this is
jewelry
something you want to do,
from your mom.
wouldn't you keep it to yourself?
Yeah.
The same thing with the Megan Fox story. It's like, wouldn't you keep that to yourself?
Well, and it's like Olivia Wilde talking about like, I'm so surprised that people care about drama. Well, no shit, because all these people do.
It's the ultimate hypocrisy, because they're the ones who broadcast their drama constantly.
And then we come and talk about it, thus becoming
we're
part
the
of the
real
problem.
schmucks.
The name of our show should be Part of the Problem. Oh, Dave Smith already has.
Or that can be a special segment then.
Yeah.
We're part of the problem.
We are part of the problem. So she says, Khloe Kardashian and Kris Jenner flirted with the idea of getting tandem breast augmentations following Jenner's hip replacement surgery. Is there anything more a more perfect sign that you're probably too old to care about this stuff than literal hip replacement? Like that's actually like
you got to pair every like actual medical surgery with the cosmetic one to make up for it.
To make up for the fact that you feel old.
It's like getting a lollipop after you leave the doctor's office.
Or a little dinosaur.
Yep.
That was my favorite.
Let's do it together, Jenner said. K. Kardashian replied, "Is that weird? Mother-daughter boob jobs?" Yes. Yes, it's kind of weird.
It's weirder that Kris Jenner was the one that brought it up and not Khloe, right?
Yeah.
She was the one that proposed the idea to her daughter.
Well, I mean, not actually, no, because she's probably more desperate to feel young than the other one is desperate to feel close to her mom.
Right. And she also has this picture of Khloe's mugshot hanging in her office.
That's the most
because she said she finds it cute.
It's the most rich person.
This is just such a...
This really upsets me, to be honest, because I've got a little sister who watches this Kardashian show on Hulu. And for her to be, Khloe being 30-something years old and insecure about her chest, what do you think that's saying to young girls all across America? Like, come on.
And then showing a family dynamic which is clearly so disintegrated and abnormal and maladapted, and portraying that as the new normal.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with it.
They're all just
sorry if that makes me seem like a Puritan.
I kind of fall in the camp of like, sure, do whatever you want, but at the same time, it's like you wonder. See, I also wonder though, because you talk about how like what's that going to make somebody that's younger think about their body, but we also have like entire movements designed to make women feel okay with looking how they look, no matter what. Anyways.
But that's also a complete facade for the women who spend like 6 hours a day on a Peloton and want everyone else to feel really body positive.
You want to talk about a cult? It's the Peloton chicks that are in a cult.
Wasn't there some like scandal about Peloton recently?
I know that Chris Noth, who's like an actor, was like a spokesman for Peloton, ended up having like Me Too allegations against him, and and then they had to drop him, stuff like that.
I think the treadmills were hurting people, and there was an issue there too.
Nordic Track is like, we're still superior. Remember Nordic Track? That was a thing.
I don't remember Nordic Track.
Yeah, because it was popular when your parents were thinking about having you.
Oh, okay.
It's that long ago.
I still remember the Bowflex.
Yeah. You need those.
Okay, I remember that from the infomercials I watched.
It's always like this sweeping shot on a dolly. It's like shoots by the guy who's like fake sweating because they're just like spraying him with water.
Or the shake weight.
Yeah. Oh, there's a really funny. Oh no, I can't talk about that one. It's too visual. I have to be able to show it. It's a really funny one where it's supposed to be like a fake ad like that, and it's just a bunch of like exercises that make the guy look like he's simulating various acts of sex. It's very funny. This is like anytime we see something like this, I'm like societal rot. We're falling apart. Nothing matters. BTS is going to war. And the Kardashians are,
I didn't want to end the show on a note like that, but I guess let's go to Super Chat.
No, I will say that this is kind of what happens when these become your idea of what a well-adjusted family is, right? And that's kind of like, when was the last time you saw like a good...
I mean, it's not even really them telling us that they're well-adjusted. It's them telling us that they're not, and it's okay, and they don't need to improve, and neither do you.
Okay, I would like to ask a question. Like, I watch a lot of older TV. I've been watching a show again called Rosewood, which was a 2015 show from Fox. It was a medical drama starring Morris Chestnut and Jana Lee Ortiz. And it's got Lorraine Toussaint as his mother in that show. And his dad, who is also a surgeon, a medical examiner, it has a really interesting family dynamic, but the family is still all sorts of messed up. The mom and dad get a divorce. He's got health problems, but it's really, really well done in how much they all care about each other. When was the last time you saw a TV show that had just a generally well-adjusted nuclear family?
I'm trying to think about it.
Husband's there, wife's there, dad goes to work, also helps with the chores sometimes. Maybe he forgets things once in a while, and the wife gets a little bit upset, but always forgives him. When was the last time?
I remember one Disney show, Good Luck Charlie, had that.
Man with a Plan. It's got Matt LeBlanc stars in it.
Okay.
Not bad. It's pretty wholesome. It's a sitcom. And they've got their issues, but it's a nice family.
Maybe
Is that,
you know?
When did that end?
That I don't know if it's still going. I think it got canceled. Maybe that's the reason it got canceled.
Is there anything right now?
No.
I don't think so.
That
And
was
Disney
pretty
for a
recent.
long time has had a strange obsession with portraying families where one of the parents is dead, usually the mom.
Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
They kill off one of the parents.
or both of them.
Everybody could look
Yeah.
up to Goofy from a Goofy movie. Goofy was a great dad.
Yeah. Heroic single dad.
Johnny Derp says Home Improvement. Yes, that was the 90s. That's what I'm saying.
Is there anything now?
Yeah, well, so Man with a Plan was like 2018, 2019.
Okay.
So, but I don't know if it got canceled or not.
Carnell says Ozark. Yes.
Ozark, there you go.
Yeah, all right, that's a fair. Like I just Tim Allen.
The
with Last Man
beginning of The
Standing.
Walking Dead, maybe.
But the point is that it's the exception now, right?
Yeah.
It's not the rule, and you're not going to get a bunch of good examples of like shows where the family's portrayed as a wholesome, like a wholesome thing to aspire to. I
true.
would argue, like my argument would always been like I don't like to take the approach that like it's a big Hollywood conspiracy and they just want to discredit the idea of the family. I think that if you're a writer, the idea of conflict and a less than traditional family is more interesting as a writer.
But why is their only idea of conflict something that is disharmony in the family rather than any other form of conflict that you could show in a story?
It could be it could in a way reflect the real world, right? As divorce rates have gone up, we're now raising writers who are part of homes where that's their life experience.
A lot of people praise Quiet Place for having a strong father figure character and strong family.
Well, they abandoned that after the first movie.
Well, but that was the point, is that he sacrificed himself
Right.
for his family. I mean, the second one was all right, despite Krasinski not being in the same role there, but I don't know.
Madam Secretary, which was a Téa Leoni show where she's the Secretary of State. Tim Daly plays her husband. They're actually a very, very solid family unit in that show, and they've got 3 kids. They've got the idealistic, annoying older daughter. They've got the middle child who's kind of reserved. Yeah, that would be an example of I'm just trying to think of shows that I've watched, but even that was 2015, and that's late on the spectrum of it. That show was actually really good until it went full woke in the last season and had Hillary Clinton on.
She was actually on the show.
Oh, yeah, it was
horrible.
really bad.
Well,
really
There's
bad.
nothing on right now.
Not on ABC, NBC. I feel like I spend all my time on streaming services, so I'm missing the few shows that are actually still doing weekly premieres on cable.
But that's totally irrelevant.
Maybe why is that irrelevant to?
Streaming has completely taken over.
Sure, but eventually you will see after 3 or 4 successful seasons, people start talking about it. It's it hasn't been canceled. So I don't know. What I'm saying is I haven't done my due diligence. And
a lot of people didn't know about Yellowstone until season 3.
Right.
You could argue that Better Call Saul got no attention from the media and was on for a really long time and is very highly regarded.
A lot of people thought it was going to fail.
Yeah. I made a post about that the other day. Said there's this weird pocket that you can Ozark kind of fell into that category too, where you can hope to you get away from the scrutiny that comes from the media, where they get to tell you didn't cast enough of this person, you didn't cast enough of that person. You want to shoot for middle ground, AMC, FX, and get to make your show without being kind of inundated with that backlash. And the only way to do that is to not look to be part of the superhero genre. Stay away from that and just make your own stuff. But then to be successful doing that, you have to really put up numbers. You're not allowed to be artificially held up by the network because they don't have some social justice cause that they can use to market it, right? That they can use, we keep it on, sure, it sucks, but we keep it on the air because look at how inclusive it is, right? Mm-hmm. Those other shows, the ones that don't rely on that, either do it naturally and get no praise because they don't do it in a way that's ham-fisted, or they have to live and die on just how good the show is. And there's very little of that right now. There used to be a hell of a lot more. One that I've been looking into that I haven't gotten a chance of seeing that I heard started really well but didn't finish good was Dark Winds, which is a Zahn McClellan show, McKernan show on FX.
Okay.
And he's really, really good. But I have not seen that. But that one's like, that kind of feels like a really diverse version of that type of show, right? Where it's not, it's like in the Better Call Saul realm of like, it's not going to get the attention of these other projects. So maybe that's like that, or that's what The Old Man was. The Old Man on FX that I watched with Jeff Daniels. Good show, a little bit boring as it went on, but like definitely room for improvement if they did make a season 2. But it's gets no play from the media. Neither did The Patient.
Yeah. I don't know why that is.
It's because it's not. It doesn't fit into the box. Of what
a lot
they
of
push
people
right now.
would say that what they're pushing right now reflects people's real life experiences more than what shows about like wholesome families, like intact families did in the past.
So is it a
It's
reflection?
about reflecting your like people's the viewers' real life experiences more than instructing them on how they should live their lives. I disagree with that, but
Do you think it was always that way? Do you think
that's a common rebuttal is all.
Do you think it was always that way, right? So in the 50s or whenever Leave It to Beaver and stuff came out, it wasn't that they were instructing you to be that way. It's just that the people who wrote those stories were raised under a facade of a much healthier home.
Not just a facade, a reality.
I'm
a reality of that.
And perhaps they did, perhaps they didn't.
What people would say now, even though they've never experienced that time period, is that it was all a facade, and that all of those shows were made to mask the unhealthy dynamics and abuse and addiction, whatever that was going on in people's families. No doubt there were dark things happening to people all throughout human history. No one is claiming that there weren't problems. But like that also doesn't mean that you need to show all of that in our entertainment.
One of my biggest complaints of things right now is there's this weird astroturfed like notion on social media where they talk about how every wife in the 50s was abused. Like that's a thing where they like make memes about it, like
that men just like went around hitting women at random. Like what?
So
just didn't.
Would you
happen.
consider the Scarlet Witch show? Would you consider that because they joked?
I haven't seen WandaVision.
So each episode is a different era of television, and so it goes like the first episode's black and white because it was like 1950s television, but she's got her husband who's I forget the character's name, and she's got 2 kids. It's a nice little family, nice little nuclear family. But again, it's a superhero show. It's not about that, even though that exists in the show.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I really do think it's more that the writers evolve with the times, and they're just growing up in a time now where not only are the families falling apart more common, it's more common for families to fall apart. Divorce is over 50%
right
now.
Or marriage, they don't even get married.
Or they don't even get married. It's like we were talking earlier about what is it, like somebody's having Olivia Wilde having like a flower girl, like your daughter as a flower girl at your wedding because nobody's actually waiting for marriage to have kids.
Yeah,
it's just a different time. It's a bummer.
But I just don't think that you have to reflect all of the wounds in society in our entertainment. That's not always the purpose of it.
What would you like to
Sometimes
see?
it's just to entertain. Sometimes it's just to instruct. Sometimes it's a mix of the two. Sometimes, I mean, like, I think of like a Euphoria, and you're showing things that teenagers these days generally don't even go through as something aspirational.
I don't want to watch Euphoria. Like
I don't either.
It makes me uncomfortable.
It shows literal high school teenagers like doing heroin and like getting R-worded. Like I just don't understand why that
I think
should
it's
be
also
the focal
desensitizing
point.
the issue. It's like when that stuff does happen,
and
it's like-
romanticizing it
or
to
romanticize
the
it,
audience they know.
The real version,
too young to know better.
The real version would show a bunch of high school girls meeting guys on Tinder and a bunch of high school boys meeting no women because all the girls that are in their age range are meeting older guys on Tinder. Right. That's what the real version would be.
No, the real version would be that actual Gen Z teenagers who are in high school right now are socially isolated, anxious, social media addicted.
Yeah.
porn addicted losers. Like they're not doing intravenous heroin or like partying like the way they show on Euphoria. It's statistically the generation that goes out the least, has the least friends, has the least sex.
Yeah, that seems to be true. I mean, I
if it were really about showing the real gritty lives of the viewer,
to be fair,
something they can relate to, then it
not
wouldn't.
their job.
Then they wouldn't show that. But that's all I'm saying. It's the rebuttal to what we're saying.
Yeah.
Show something wholesome and like an intact nuclear family. The rebuttal is like, but that's not real life. Well, Euphoria is also not real life.
Yeah.
Right.
So what would you like to see beyond just the nuclear family, which I think everyone would like to see more of, and at least done more thoughtfully in television? What's something else you'd like to see them focus more on?
I don't know. Character studies.
I would like to see 1 hour long episodes of Atlanta on FX.
Okay.
Seriously, no, that's one of my shows that I watch that I really enjoy, and maybe the reason I enjoy it is because they talk about real stuff, but it's shortened to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't think they overdo anything. You've
Yeah.
got the blend of comedy, even though they're in stressful situations, right? You've got the college parties that they go to, which I think they do a tremendous job of showing just how, like, there's a joke in Atlanta. This girl has 30,000 Instagram followers. She'll never be able to actually understand reality. Like, she has a warped view on reality. And I'm like, I think that was really well done, you know?
In the sense that like most people will never have 30,000 people that give a crap what's going on in their lives.
Well, no, but this particular character they were talking about was very up on her high horse, right? Thought she was, she was all that, and she was crazy. From the viewer's standpoint, you're like, oh my God, this girl's unhinged, like she's crazy. But everyone in the show was treating her, like she was a goddess, you know. And they warned it was Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. They warned him. They're like, "Hey, man, be careful. Like, it's not going to play out well."
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I don't know.
We talk about what we want on this show so much, and we never see it. That I'm just tired of.
I'm rewatching Lost right now.
Yeah.
That's how much there's
like
good
rewatching is
television
basically
there
your
is.
only option now.
I mean, that's literally all I do. I don't watch almost anything.
Asking for what we want doesn't work. They're not listening, and they don't care.
We review movies, but for shows and stuff like that, we're going to review Tulsa King when it comes out. But everything that I rewatch, it's just I rewatch stuff because it was made so much better back when. I've been watching The Shield. I mentioned that yesterday. And they would never be able to make that show today because there's a sense of uncompromising realism with how they portray race relations in that show that you would never be able to do today. And honestly, one of the best runs of a character where there's a cop in the show who's extremely religious, who's also gay, who goes through some horrible stuff through other officers just treat him just horribly. But then other character, it's not done heavy-handed. The character never looks for sympathy. The character never portrays himself as a victim. It's it's kind of there's scenes where they're going through sexual preference reassignment operation, and it's just but they portray it as this is insane. It's hard to believe that they would be able to do that in a way now that would be good, that wouldn't feel like propaganda. And that's because I don't trust the writers today to do that.
The writers are out of touch, but they're also lazy.
Oh,
right.
And somebody says Hallmark TV shows traditionally have.
That's true.
That's a good point.
But they're not.
Candace Cameron
good.
Bure is. How do you pronounce her last name? Candace Cameron
Bure. I don't
whatever
know.
it is. She is single-handedly keeping the nuclear family together. Her and the whatever her new station is now that she's
Great
no
American
longer,
Family?
Great American Family now that she's no longer with the Hallmark Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But look, let's be honest. The quality is not gonna be there.
And that's
okay.
Fine. There's a guy named Max the Very Good Boy on Instagram who does really funny Hallmark movie pitches. Everyone should go listen to them. We're
Wait, so there's a Max the Very Good Boy, but then there's also a good boy Noah.
Yes, not the same.
Why are there so many good boys?
I have no idea.
Ask Jordan Peterson.
Ask Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Hobbit said Chuck was great. Casey MVP.
Yes, he was. Casey was the man.
Potatoes for Seamus said Brett Lives Matter movie directed by Bad App starring Surge's feet.
Wait, so
why do you guys want to see Surge's feet? That's weird.
Wait, so let me get this straight. It's going to be a movie about me in which I don't even get to be my own foot actor? That's just wrong.
I feel like you should feel honored that you have a foot actor.
Yeah, well, I maybe. We'll see.
I don't even know if it's supposed to be playing your feet. Dash Fortune said all the best villains can be written as an anti-hero. Dr. Doom, Lex Luthor, Magneto, completely cartoon villainy falls short as it's rampant insanity at that point. An epic hero needs an epic villain.
You're right about the context of everything you just said. I just don't trust. They're a 4 out of 10 when they're, they bat like a 150 or a 200 when they try to actually accomplish that in their movies. I would rather they go back to basics and try to just portray simpler stories.
Rega Tan said BTS is going to come home with BTSD.
Oh, no.
Ha ha.
That was good.
But
oof.
That was fantastic.
You guys know what BTS stands for, right?
No, actually.
Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
In Korean.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, they're about to put that to the test.
No way.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Hopefully there's at least one instructor who gets in their face and
I thought
says,
it was like
we're going to
behind
find
the
out
scenes.
just
behind
how.
the scenes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But apparently, no. It's Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
Some at least one instructor is going to get in their face and be like, we're going to see just how bulletproof you boys are. That's what we hope.
Bobcat said BTS will likely get KAT USA duty if they even do have to serve. What is that?
I don't know. But, I mean, I thought we saw that they do have to serve, that they did decide that. That has been decided.
Yeah, we discussed it before when it was still up for debate. Potatoes for Seamus said Crisis Party.
Thank you, Seamus.
Matt said...
Also, I wonder if Potatoes for Seamus has a good mashed potato recipe.
For Harry Styles.
For Harry Styles.
He throws on the
throw
wall.
at the wall.
Dramatically.
Potatoes for Seamus.
I still think it might be Seamus.
Could be. Never know.
Matt said, like Captain America in the beginning of First Avenger.
Yep. They
Call Me Infidel said BTS might pull the Captain America move for recruitment and just be a morale boost. R.O.K. Jr. enlisted got treated like garbage a lot by older enlisted.
Like they're more useful to the military as a recruitment tool than
Right.
they are as actual soldiers.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
1,000 Foot Deep End said Jimmy Stewart left Hollywood to serve during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood was also a lot different
Yes.
back then. Crispy Leg Transport LLC said his last name was Tillman and he was killed by friendly fire.
Yep, Pat Tillman.
Oh no.
Yep, I remember. They did their own version of on the show Bones that they did it's one of the few times they did like a kind of like an inspired by a true story type thing where like you could tell that's what they were trying to talk about in that episode. Didn't really work. It was too serious for the show.
Matt said 200 pages in without editor submissions.
Like I said, it seems like a
Likely.
scam to me. I think she just didn't write it, and she's like, "Oh my!" She tried the dog ate my homework one, but
Right.
realized that dogs can't really eat computers. So she's like, "Oh no, they stole it from my car."
It makes sense. You know, everyone else is getting their cars broken into in California, so why not her?
Bobcat says KAT USA equals Korean augmentee to the United States Army.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if they'll use. I wonder because the U.S. and South Korea do joint military drills, so I wonder if they will try to use BTS's engagement for the U.S. military as well.
That's more controversial.
That's some globalism right there, my friends.
Oh, yikes.
Eh.
Global entertainment, global government.
Yep.
Get ready, folks. Buckle in. Matt said they're all demonic and evil.
Yes,
So true.
The Kardashians are absolutely demonic and evil.
Psyche said President Yoon is a conservative.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, of South Korea. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, I hope the person who just walked by my open window didn't just hear Kim K wants to make jewelry out of her mom's bones out of context.
Yes, well, they put the lotion on its skin.
Ugh.
Or else it
Oh,
gets
God.
the hose again.
Ugh. 1,000 Foot Deep End said, my mom made me keep my casts from my broken arm.
He's like,
I guess
don't
that
want
used
it.
to be allowed, but no longer.
You're like, I don't want to. It smells. Like, keep it. It's a memory.
That's what you get for breaking your arm.
Matt said, didn't Tom Green save his ball, or am I
I
mistaken?
believe that is true. Yeah, he had a testicle degloved.
What?
That had to be removed or something like that, and kept it in a jar or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly.
Why would he
Jeez.
keep it? Ah.
It was the 90s, man.
Keep everything.
People were wild and crazy. Didn't you see Biodome?
Clint said, howdy people, sorry I'm late. About the earlier topic of villain worship, I don't always root for the villain, but can't help it if they're played by Gary Oldman, except for in Hannibal.
Hannibal is in, like, Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter. Very, very good. And then
I never liked
Hugh Dancy.
I
as-
never liked Silence of the Lambs.
The,
I thought
the
it was like not even scary.
but the show is a good example.
Way slow moving.
The show is a good example of a when I talked about, like, you can flesh a villain out. Get it? It's a Hannibal reference.
Haha.
Like, you can flesh a villain out
Ugh.
further with more episodes and more time. Also, there's a lot of, like, weird kind of, like, erotic undertones between him and the male main character in that show that works really, really well within the context of that. The production style and the music choice and everything. It's very, very good.
I mean, I said I'm partial to villains, but Hannibal Lecter would not be one of
Not
them
one of
that
them.
I would want to see, quote unquote, fleshed out in a TV show.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
The movie, I'm sorry, but the movie sucked. I'll say it.
You had to be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
1,000 Foot Deep End said Last Man Standing.
That show.
Yeah.
The Tim Allen show.
High Voltage 75 said, I humbly request no more Kardashian segments unless they got abducted by aliens or something. That is all.
Look, we just go where the pop culture news goes, and that's
We're victims of circumstance, really.
it's us you should be praying for, not the Kardashians.
Don't shoot the messenger.
It's just us.
Matt said, Crystal and Kyle 24 with Rose McGowan was very enlightening in regards to Hollywood perspectives, occultism and Me Too versus Time's Up, important listening.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
Okay.
I know Rose McGowan has since...
That's a podcast?
Yeah, like,
Okay.
I know that Rose McGowan has come out very heavily against what Me Too turned into.
And Me Too turned on her.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Well, there's, I don't even know what to call it, but the whole mindset about, with the Me Too is like, I almost feel like that's what's happening with kids now. Like, and you're just like, you have to believe every kid, no matter, the kids know best for when,
Well, yeah,
parenting
you
and everything.
let your kid transition because they know what they're talking about at the age of 6.
Right, but I don't know what that
like
phenomenon
listen and believe
is.
extended beyond just the conversation about
Well, parenting
like
is kind of...
misconduct.
Like, even any type of parenting is considered bad now. Like, you're not allowed to do anything to your kid that isn't just affirming whatever they say.
Somehow
about
the
themselves.
teachers know better than parents of their own
Parents.
kids now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Potatoes for Seamus said, what's your take on MASH, the TV series, Brett?
I've never actually seen the show MASH. My dad loved
Mashed potatoes.
My dad loved MASH. I know Alan Alda eventually, the main actor from.
I've
Alan
watched a
Alda.
lot of MASH.
Have you?
It's like,
Do tell us.
actually, it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe if I came back to it, I wouldn't feel the same way about it
Yeah.
as before.
A lot of people love that.
Because I
show.
watched it with my parents, as well as Monty Python, and like other things like that.
the classics.
But yeah, we just, and then we would never have another character like, what was his name? The crossdresser.
Yeah, I don't.
Like we can't we can't see characters like that.
Not
anymore
that way,
because you
yeah.
can't make jokes about that.
That's another thing that's really funny about, like, all the old network TV shows have at least one episode every year now. Like, if the show came out between 2003 and 2017, every year has at least one episode that is a whoo boy no go anymore.
Yeah.
Well, due to either language, something to do with trans, with a character that's trans, or a crossdresser. It's so weird.
Well,
like,
it's
You can't even say crossdresser anymore.
It's all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like you've got shows like Euphoria, which is like everything goes essentially.
Showing basically a child making an OnlyFans account.
Right, but if there's an innocent sitcom that makes one joke in one scene, it's done.
It's what I attribute that to is like before the rise of maybe cancel culture isn't real. Like maybe that you're not going to lose your job in Hollywood for doing that, but that episode will never get made because they know what the backlash will be.
Yeah, it's not really cancel culture if you never saw something to begin with that could get canceled. They just don't make it anymore. They don't say that comment anymore. They don't make that joke anymore.
I hate that because like I look back, like I was watching the first season of the X-Files. There's this very subpar episode called Gender Bender that, oh my God, you could not do today. But I'm saying like when it was made, when I watch it, I would contend that nothing being said or done in that episode was made out of a sense of malice. It was creative.
It was a different culture.
Creative people going into the depths of a world they don't understand to try and tell an interesting story that they will never be allowed to do anymore because they'll be too scared to go. They'll literally be too scared to go there because they're afraid of how it's going to be perceived by people that are not going to like anything they make anyway.
And I mean, when you have all these roadblocks up, how do you expect to be creative?
Yeah.
How do you really expect to put and create good work?
Think of how many amazing stories haven't been told because of those restrictions.
Maybe that's why everything's a reboot. It's safe.
Yeah, that's. I think that's pretty much the crux of it.
I'm just waiting for them to run out of things to reboot.
Will never happen.
It will happen eventually. There's a finite number.
Because they will just keep rebooting the things. Will be.
They're gonna reboot the reboots.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
that we're. I mean, we've seen that already with stuff.
Because new technology has come out, so we have to do it again.
And it will reflect the times we live in.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Reimagined. Potatoes for Seamus said, I have a few recipes for different potato dishes.
Do they go well on the wall, though? And does Harry Styles like them?
And can you mash?
All right. Can you watch MASH while eating mashed potatoes?
I probably have done that before.
Perfect. All right. Hey, man, thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Brett.
Let
a lot of
everyone
fun.
know where they can find you.
I guess I'll have to figure that out.
You don't have to let them find you.
Yeah. See, if you can find me, I'll congratulate you.
There you go.
But no, I'll, like I said, I do the clips for Timcast IRL, so check out that YouTube channel tonight at 8 p.m.
I've heard of that channel. I've heard of them. Mary, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes. If you want to see pictures of me, you can follow me on Instagram at Mary Archived. And if you want to know what my inane thoughts are, you can follow me on Twitter also at Mary Archived.
One more shill for Daily Wire.
Oh, no more shilling for
no
the
more?
day.
All right. Well, we tried. Guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic for the show. We are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are also on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you listen rather than watch, there are a lot of people that I get messages from that are very happy that we're uploading those episodes as quickly as we can, right after they come out. So we will keep trying to do that. We are also on social media. We are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisis pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
See ya.